Chapter 12:20. Ho Junhan took the eavesdropper in his hand and carefully observed the appearance of the eavesdropper. Then, he shook his head. This kind of eavesdropper works by emitting analog signals. Because it only uses a button battery, the emitting power is very small. It is estimated that it can only be received in this building, and it can only be received in a few rooms near the general manager's office. If it is far away, it will be ineffective. Therefore, at this moment, Lu Chan and Chu Daming have run away, and they won't hear our current conversation. That's good. Bao Sanli breathed a sigh of relief. He was a rough man. Unlike Ho Junhan, who retired from the special forces, he had certain detection and anti-detection abilities. The Ming-Yang Security Company was directly under Bao Sanli and Ho Junhan. Lu Chan and Chu Daming had not infiltrated yet. Otherwise, the consequences would be unimaginable. If something really happened, there would be no one available. When Bao Sanli's arrest warrant was issued, the Ming-Yang Security Company's idle personnel immediately acted. The security personnel who were already on duty in some entertainment venues also began to pay attention. However, Lu Chan and Chu Daming seemed to have disappeared from the world. After discovering that the two were missing, Bao Sanli sent people to guard the two's residence, but unfortunately, the two did not return to the residence. There was no one else in the residence. In this way, it further confirmed Little Wang's words. Lu Chan and Chu Daming had an inescapable relationship with the company's deficit. It seemed that Lu Chan and Chu Daming had been prepared for a long time. In other words, it was estimated that the two had plotted to escape a long time ago. Today's inspection by Bao Sanli and Ho Junhan was just an opportunity for them to escape. The two of them had already prepared an escape route. If something went wrong, they could immediately retreat. It would not be so easy to find the two of them again. What should we do? At this moment, Bao Sanli had no idea. If he was asked to kill, he was better than anyone. But now, when he was asked to analyze the whereabouts of Lu Chan and Chu Daming, Bao Sanli obviously didn't know what to do. First, report to Brother Yang. Then, go to Chu Daming and Lu Chan's offices and search to see if there are any valuable clues. In addition, let the security guards be on high alert. Ho Junhan said after a moment of hesitation. Yes, I'll inform the security guards and tell them to be more alert. Bao Sanli nodded and said. Brother Yang sighed. When it came to reporting to Yang Ming, Bao Sanli was a little timid. After all, this was caused by his own veteran. It had nothing to do with Yang Ming, so if Yang Ming was angry, he would first vent it on Bao Sanli. Let me do it. Ho Junhan also knew Bao Sanli's difficulties at the moment. He patted Bao Sanli's shoulder and said with a bitter smile. Bao Sanli looked at Ho Junhan gratefully, but he didn't say much. He quickly took out the phone and called his men to instruct them. Ho Junhan dialed the phone to Yang Ming. Yang Ming was on his way to school. He left a little earlier today. Yang Ming couldn't let Chen Mengyan, Lin Jiyun, and Zhou Jiejia see him going to school with Wang Xiaoyan, so he could only drive to school earlier. Before arriving at school, Yang Ming's cell phone rang. Yang Ming glanced at the caller ID. It was Ho Junhan, so he picked it up. Big Ho, what's the matter? Brother Yang, Baozi and I are checking the accounts of Ming-Yang Entertainment. Lu Chan and Chu Daming ran away. Ho Junhan didn't explain much, but he went straight to the topic and told Yang Ming the original story. In Guo Jianchao's office, we found a small tapping device. Ran away? Yang Ming frowned after listening. What did they do? The company's financial power and purchasing power have always been in charge of Lu Chan and Chu Daming. They both obeyed Guo Jianchao in public but opposed him in private. During this time, they have emptied the company. Now, they still owe suppliers and decoration wages of more than 130 million yuan. Ho Junhan said, when we were about to take coercive measures against them, we found that they had run away. Oh. Yang Ming had long suspected that Lu Chan and Chu Daming had problems. He didn't expect their problems to be so serious. Although 130 million yuan was nothing for the current Yang Ming, the money he got from Singapore's Li Ziqing was more than 100 times, but these were two different things. After all, Songjiang was his foundation. If the foundation was ruined, everything would be over. Brother Yang, Baozi, and I have failed in our management. Please punish us. Ho Zhenhan also knew the seriousness of this matter. When he heard that Yang Ming didn't speak, Ho Zhenhan thought that Yang Ming was angry and blamed him. Lu Chan and Chu Daming, I know these two people. They have nothing to do with you. These two people are veterans who follow Baozi. It is also difficult for Baozi. Yang Ming sighed. Tell him not to be angry. He must be responsible for this matter, but I will not hold him accountable. Let's talk about it after I go there. Yes, Brother Yang. I will tell him in a while. Ho Zhenhan listened to Yang Ming's tone and breathed a sigh of relief. He knew that although Yang Ming was a little angry, it had not reached the point of anger. Bao Sanli should not suffer too much. Right, have you sent someone to search for the whereabouts of Lu Chan and Chu Daming? Asked Yang Ming. I have called all the security guards in the company to act, said Ho Zhenhan. Just do your best. Yang Ming comforted Ho Zhenhan slightly and hung up the phone. Looking at the puzzled Wang Xiaoyan, Yang Ming explained, there is a problem with my company. I can't go to school. I will send you to the school gate later. Wang Xiaoyan was a person who cared about the big picture. She knew that when Yang Ming said that there was a problem with the company, it must be something very important, so Wang Xiaoyan did not hesitate. When passing by the school gate, Yang Ming stopped the car and let Wang Xiaoyan get off at the school gate. Watching Wang Xiaoyan enter the school gate, Yang Ming was relieved to start the car and leave the school, driving to the headquarters of Ming Yang Entertainment. Wang Xiaoyan did not enter the school for long. A figure ran over to Wang Xiaoyan. Yen Yen. Wang Xiaoyan's brows suddenly twisted together. She was a little disgusted, but she still tried not to let herself get angry. Coach Li? Why are you here? The person was Li Diding, Wang Xiaoyan's former long-distance running coach. Yen Yen, I was invited to come here to train students. The university games are about to start. Li Diding said with some pride. He enjoyed the feeling of being respected. Yen Yen, do you want to participate in the games? It's just a matter of a word from me to register you. Sorry, Coach Li, I haven't practiced long-distance running for a long time. Besides, I don't want to develop in sports. Wang Xiaoyan had goosebumps when Li Diding called her Yen Yen. Although Yang Ming and her father also called her Yen Yen, Wang Xiaoyan only felt disgusted when it came from Li Diding's mouth. So what if you don't practice? Don't you have me? I will train you alone and guarantee that you will get a place in the national competition. At that time, if you are chosen by the national team, you will have a meteoric rise. This is an opportunity that many people dream of. Li Diding said quickly, at that time, if you really win the championship of the world competition, you can have whatever you want. Li Diding painted a big picture and wanted Wang Xiaoyan to be fooled. In fact, Li Diding also understood that it was not so simple to get a place. However, in order to get Wang Xiaoyan, Li Diding didn't mind exaggerating the facts. After all, he didn't lie. Really? Hee, I think it's good now. I don't want to be a champion, and I don't want to be famous. Wang Xiaoyan shook her head. You are a college student. It is always a good thing to participate in more activities, right? Li Diding still didn't give up. How could Wang Xiaoyan not know Li Diding's thoughts? Seeing that he was still talking, she said, Coach Li, in fact, my boyfriend doesn't like me to practice long-distance running. Okay, I have to go to class. Wang Xiaoyan told Li Diding that she had a boyfriend, and she also warned him to restrain himself. However, it was fine if Wang Xiaoyan didn't mention it. When she mentioned Yang Ming, Li Diding had an inexplicable anger. Last time, Yang Ming hit him with the excuse of reversing the car, and Li Diding couldn't say anything. At this moment, when he heard Wang Xiaoyan say this, he suddenly remembered that there were photos of Yang Ming and other women in his phone. Therefore, Li Diding was overjoyed and quickly said, "Yan Yan, wait a minute. Speaking of your boyfriend, I have important news to tell you. It is related to your lifetime happiness." Wang Xiaoyan was about to leave. When she heard Li Diding mention Yang Ming, she was slightly stunned. She stopped and asked, "What is it?" "That boyfriend of yours is not honest," Li Diding whispered mysteriously. He took out his phone from his pocket, then opened the photo album and put the phone in front of Wang Xiaoyan. His head also deliberately leaned toward Wang Xiaoyan. Wang Xiaoyan turned to the side with some disgust and looked at Li Diding's phone screen. On Li Diding's phone screen, there was a group of photos of Yang Ming. The protagonists of the photos were Yang Ming and Zhao Ying. Looking at the two of them talking and laughing, they really looked like a couple in love. However, Wang Xiaoyan had long known about the relationship between Yang Ming and Zhao Ying. Moreover, Zhao Ying liked Yang Ming before she liked Wang Xiaoyan. If she really wanted to compare, she, Wang Xiaoyan, owed Zhao Ying. Therefore, after Wang Xiaoyan saw the photos, she understood Li Diding's meaning. He wanted to use this to make her feel that Yang Ming was two-timing so that she would give up on Yang Ming. However, Yang Ming was more than two-timing. For Yang Ming, Wang Xiaoyan couldn't understand him more. What's wrong with this? Wang Xiaoyan looked at Li Diding's phone and asked faintly. The restaurant in the background of the photo seemed to be a Sichuan restaurant near the Huashang district where she lived. She and Yang Ming seemed to have been there a few times. Your boyfriend is eating alone with another woman, and they are talking and laughing. Doesn't that explain anything? Li Diding didn't think that Wang Xiaoyan couldn't see anything. He felt that Wang Xiaoyan said this because she cared about her face. However, Li Diding didn't mind exposing Wang Xiaoyan. Only in this way, the deeper Wang Xiaoyan was hurt, the more opportunity he had to take advantage of it. Oh, but what's wrong with this? Wang Xiaoyan smiled faintly. I know the person in the photo. She is my boyfriend's math teacher in high school. It is normal for my boyfriend to treat her to a meal. It is understandable. What? This person is his high school math teacher? Li Diding was stunned. He didn't expect to get such an answer. Yeah, does Coach Li think that there can be any abnormal relationship between a student and a teacher? Wang Xiaoyan pursed her lips and smiled. Coach Li, your thoughts seem to be a bit wrong. So it's like this. How could Li Diding not understand? Wang Xiaoyan was using this matter to poke at him. She was telling him not to have any improper thoughts about her. It was impossible for a student and a teacher to be together. If there is nothing else, then I will go first, Coach Li. Wang Xiaoyan still maintained politeness, neither humble nor overbearing. She waved her hand to Li Diding and quickly walked in the direction of the teaching building. Fuck. Li Diding cursed and spat a thick phlegm on the ground of the school. Motherfucker, what a waste of effort. I didn't expect her to be this kid's teacher. I was also scolded by Yan Yan. I am really unlucky. No, I must get back at her. Wang Xiaoyan, don't be complacent. Sooner or later, she will be mine. The woman that I, Li Diding, like, has never not been hooked. Spitting everywhere, a fine of 50 yuan. A fat old woman walked up to Li Diding, grabbed Li Diding who wanted to leave, and shouted. Li Diding was unhappy in his heart. He didn't expect that he would be entangled by an old woman when he spat. He was annoyed. Who are you? I am from the school's logistics department. I am responsible for school hygiene. The old woman snorted and tore a fine receipt. She handed it to Li Diding. Pay up. I am also from the school. I am a school teacher. Li Diding saw that the old woman was serious and quickly explained. School teacher? Why haven't I seen you before? The old woman looked at Li Diding up and down, and then said, Besides, school teachers should lead by example. Don't say that. Hurry up and pay the money. Pay what money? Don't you know who I am? I am an expert invited by the school. Coach. Li Diding glared at the old woman. Hurry up and get out of the way. If you want money, ask the school leader for it. What's wrong? You want to escape after spitting? The old woman grabbed Li Diding's sleeve and didn't let him leave. Let go. When Li Diding saw that the old woman dared to make a move, he immediately became angry. I will count to 3. I am telling you, I am practicing sports. If you don't let go, you have to bear the consequences. 1, 2, 3. Pa. There was a crisp sound. A loud slap hit Li Diding's face. Suddenly, 5 red marks appeared on his right face. What's wrong? Are you threatening me? The old woman glared and said, What's wrong with you practicing sports? I practiced judo in the past. Hitting you is just for fun. Let me tell you. Li Diding was hit by the old woman until he saw stars. Now, he knew how powerful the old woman was. Most people didn't have this strength. Looking at the old woman's body shape, Li Diding also believed the old woman's words. This old woman wasn't simple. If he really fought with her, then the unlucky one would definitely be him. Li Diding had no choice. Since he couldn't beat her, then he had to pay. In desperation, he had to take out 100 yuan from his pocket and give it to the old woman. He said with a sad face, Give me 50 yuan. The old woman grabbed the money in Li Diding's hand, then tore a fine receipt and handed it to Li Diding with the previous one. She said, I can't give you the change. I will give you another receipt. You can spit again in a while. Ah. Li Diding was stunned. He didn't expect this old woman to be so overbearing. He saw the change in the old woman's bag, but it was obviously because Li Diding's attitude was too bad. The old woman deliberately messed with him. He still wanted to say something, but the old woman had already gone away. Li Diding was very helpless, but he could only swallow the insult. Looking at the fine receipt in his hand, Li Diding snorted, tore it up, and threw it into the trash can on the roadside. He didn't want to keep this kind of shameful thing. Li Diding walked in the direction of the gymnasium. The more he thought about it, the more he felt suffocated. I am a sports coach, but I was actually messed with by an old woman. I am really a coward. Thinking of this, Li Diding spat on the ground again. It would be a waste not to spit. Anyway, I have already paid the fine. However, when Li Diding just finished spitting, an old man rushed in front of Li Diding. Even Li Diding, the former long-distance running champion, was inferior to that speed. Spitting everywhere, a fine of 50 yuan. Shouted the old man. Li Diding's eyeballs almost popped out. I have just been fined 100 yuan. The person didn't have change, so I can spit again. Oh. The old man obviously knew the old woman's style. When he heard Li Diding say this, his attitude was better. Then, can you show me the receipt? Ah. Receipt? Li Diding's face suddenly turned green. I thought it was useless, so I just threw it away. Threw it away? The old man's face also changed. He snorted and said, Are you lying to a ghost? Hurry up and give me the money. Li Diding didn't expect this. He hesitated and ran away. He didn't want to explain. He saw that the other party was an old man. He definitely couldn't catch him, unlike the old woman who was burly. Li Diding thought, as long as I run away, the old man can't do anything. If he meets me again, there will be no evidence. That spit had already evaporated. However, Li Diding didn't wait to run far before he was caught by the old man. Chapter 12:21. Just as Li Diding was very proud, he thought, I am a long-distance running coach. How can I not outrun you, this old man? However, in the next moment, Li Diding did not run far, and his clothes were pulled by the old man from behind. "Why? Do you still want to run?" The old man stared at Li Diding. "Little guy, I was a sprinter in the past. How can I not outrun you?" When Li Diding heard it, he felt bitter in his heart. What kind of people are they? Is this school a sports family? The old woman before was a judo player, and this time there is a sprinter. Although I am good at long-distance running, people who have been involved in sports know that long-distance runners mainly rely on endurance, while short-distance runners rely on explosive power. In the short-distance range, long-distance runners are naturally not the opponent of short-distance runners. "I won't run anymore." Li Diding was really at his wits' end this time. Seeing that there were already many people watching, Li Diding had no choice but to take out 100 yuan from his pocket and hand it to the old man. "Okay, I will pay the fine." "I can't give you change. I will give you 2 receipts." The old man tore 2 receipts and handed them to Li Diding. "You can spit it out in a while, but remember to keep the receipts." Li Diding was furious, but he was too lazy to argue with the old man. He put the 2 receipts in his pocket and walked to the gymnasium. Wang Xiaoyan did not take Li Diding seriously. She did not believe that Li Diding dared to do anything to her. If he really dared, then she would just kill him. However, the content of Li Diding's mobile phone made Wang Xiaoyan's heart fall into contemplation. Zhao Ying. This was my former roommate, my only good sister in Songjiang. After careful calculation, she had not contacted me for a long time. This had never happened before. Although the 2 people did not live together, they often got together to go shopping or eat. During this time, I was busy with the assassin group. After that, I went abroad with Yang Ming, so I never looked for Zhao Ying. As for Zhao Ying, why hadn't she contacted him during this period of time? Wang Xiaoyan felt a little strange. Could it be that Zhao Ying couldn't contact her because she was abroad? It was possible, but Wang Xiaoyan checked the phone recording in her villa, and there was no record of Zhao Ying calling. Zhao Ying, this girl, did something happen to her? Thinking of this, Wang Xiaoyan's heart tightened. She quickly took out her phone and dialed Zhao Ying's cell phone. During this period of time, Zhao Ying's mood had also calmed down a lot. She was not as excited as she was at the beginning. Instead, she missed Yang Ming more and more. A while ago, with Xiao Qing and Sun Jia accompanying her, Zhao Ying didn't seem to be lonely. However, in these few days, Xiao Qing was busy researching an important topic. She lived in school day and night, so she had little time to be with them. As for Sun Jia, she didn't know why. After she said that she wanted to go back to Donghai, she lost contact with her, and her phone was turned off. Zhao Ying didn't realize what would happen to Sun Jia. After all, this kind of family division to compete for property, Zhao Ying had only seen it on TV. In reality, this was something far away from her. Therefore, Zhao Ying just thought that Sun Jia might be delayed by something. Sitting in the school cafeteria and drinking mung bean porridge in boredom, Zhao Ying suddenly had an unprecedented sense of loneliness. Although she met 2 new friends, Xiao Qing and Sun Jia, what about her old friends? She suddenly remembered that she and Wang Xiaoyan had not been in contact for a while. Thinking back, the 2 of them lived under the same roof like sisters, and they talked about everything. Those days were really happy. A year later, the relationship between the 2 was getting more and more distant. Zhao Ying sighed slightly. Although she was somewhat annoyed that Wang Xiaoyan went behind her back and got together with Yang Ming, Zhao Ying wasn't a jealous person. She couldn't accept the deception of her friend. Now that she thought about it, Wang Xiaoyan actually didn't do anything wrong. The ringing of the phone pulled Zhao Ying back from her thoughts. Looking at the 3 familiar words on the phone's caller ID, Zhao Ying's heart flashed a strange feeling. Yen Yen. She was full of resentment, but it turned into this affectionate name. It was from the heart, and she couldn't help it. Yes, I have no contradiction with Wang Xiaoyan. Sister Ying, where are you? Wang Xiaoyan heard the familiar and affectionate voice, and she suddenly felt sweet in her heart. I'm eating porridge in the school cafeteria. What's wrong, Yan Yan? Why did you call me so early in the morning? Zhao Ying found that when she really faced Wang Xiaoyan, it wasn't as awkward as she imagined. Instead, it was so natural. There was no pretense, and there was no resentment. I missed you, so I called you. When she heard that Zhao Ying's voice was normal, Wang Xiaoyan was relieved. She thought that something had happened to Zhao Ying. Now it seemed that she was too worried. You haven't contacted me for so long. What are you busy with? Oh. Zhao Ying listened to Wang Xiaoyan's words and blushed. She thought, you are with Yang Ming all day long. How can I contact you? However, this couldn't be said. Zhao Ying had to say, during this time, the graduate course is quite busy. Maybe you forgot? It turned out to be like this. Wang Xiaoyan breathed a sigh of relief. That's good. Sister Ying, I'm going to the cafeteria to find you now. I haven't eaten yet. Okay. Zhao Ying subconsciously wanted to refuse. She was afraid that they would be awkward after seeing Wang Xiaoyan, but when the words came to her mouth, it became okay. Wang Xiaoyan was somewhat inexplicable. Hee, Sister Ying, are you memorizing the pinyin? Wait for me. I'll be right there. Songjiang Industry University had 3 cafeterias, but only one main cafeteria opened in the morning to provide breakfast. After all, many students bought soy milk and bread to go to the classroom for morning self-study. They wouldn't eat in the cafeteria, so one cafeteria was enough. If all 3 cafeterias were open, it would be a waste. Wang Xiaoyan quickly ran to the cafeteria. With her keen eyesight, she saw Zhao Ying sitting in the corner of the cafeteria. In fact, after Wang Xiaoyan hung up the phone, Zhao Ying's mood had been very unsettled. Her eyes had been looking at the entrance of the cafeteria. After Wang Xiaoyan came in, Zhao Ying subconsciously waved to her. Yan, here. Wang Xiaoyan smiled and walked quickly to Zhao Ying's table. In the early morning in the university cafeteria, there weren't many students eating in the cafeteria. Most of them bought things at the window and took them away directly, so there were no other students around Zhao Ying and Wang Xiaoyan. Sister Ying. Wang Xiaoyan sat down and looked at the small bowl of mung bean porridge in front of Zhao Ying. She was a little surprised. Sister Ying, why do you eat so little? Look at you. You have lost a lot of weight. Indeed, Zhao Ying's face had become thinner. Wang Xiaoyan saw the change at a glance. Compared to a month ago, Zhao Ying must have lost more than 5 kilograms. Probably because I am tired from studying. Zhao Ying smiled bitterly. Everyone said that lovesickness was bitter. It seemed that only people who had experienced it personally knew the taste. When Zhao Ying thought of Yang Ming in her future, she had no appetite. She couldn't eat anything. It was good enough that she could eat a bowl of mung bean porridge in the morning. How can this be? Wait for me. I will buy something to eat. Wang Xiaoyan said. She stood up and ran to the breakfast window. Zhao Ying wanted to stop Wang Xiaoyan and tell her not to buy anything for her. She couldn't eat it even if she bought something for her. However, when she saw Wang Xiaoyan's excited look, Zhao Ying swallowed the words that were about to come out of her mouth. They were good sisters who talked about everything. When did they start to be estranged? Zhao Ying didn't know. But looking at Wang Xiaoyan's friendly figure, the estrangement was melting little by little. No matter what, Wang Xiaoyan was genuinely concerned about him. Zhao Ying could see this from Wang Xiaoyan's speech and behavior. Although Zhao Ying was a little annoyed that Wang Xiaoyan and Yang Ming got together without telling her, Zhao Ying wasn't angry at all when she really faced Wang Xiaoyan. Wang Xiaoyan ran to the breakfast window in the cafeteria and ordered 2 fried eggs and 2 soft cakes. After swiping her meal card, she took them back to Zhao Ying's seat. She pushed one of them in front of Zhao Ying. Sister Ying, eat more. Don't think about losing weight. Look at how thin you are now. How am I losing weight? Zhao Ying smiled bitterly, but she didn't want to refuse Wang Xiaoyan's kindness. She had to put the fried eggs and soft cakes in front of her and pick up the chopsticks. You didn't lose weight. Why don't you eat more? Wang Xiaoyan smiled. She didn't know why, but Wang Xiaoyan always felt that Zhao Ying's heart seemed to have something. The two had lived together for so long. Wang Xiaoyan was still very sensitive to Zhao Ying's emotional changes. Hee, then I will eat more. Zhao Ying said so, but she still ate very little. The two fell into silence. Zhao Ying was a little embarrassed in her heart. She didn't know what to say to Wang Xiaoyan. Wang Xiaoyan felt that Zhao Ying must have something in her heart, but Wang Xiaoyan didn't know how to ask. Sister Ying. What's wrong with you? I think you seem to be a little absent-minded. Is there something in your mind? Wang Xiaoyan finished eating the fried eggs and soft cakes. She looked at Zhao Ying, who didn't even finish half of the soft cakes, and finally couldn't help but ask. I'm fine. Zhao Ying looked at Wang Xiaoyan, who was more charming and beautiful. There was an indescribable feeling in her heart. It seemed that Wang Xiaoyan was nourished by love, and her whole person was in high spirits. The more Zhao Ying said that she was fine, the more Wang Xiaoyan felt suspicious. After all, she and Zhao Ying lived together for so long. Who didn't know each other? Is it because of emotional problems? Indeed, after thinking of this, Wang Xiaoyan felt that it was very possible. Before, when I lived with Zhao Ying, I often shared my joys and sorrows with her. However, the most common topic was Yang Ming. Thinking of this, Wang Xiaoyan faintly felt that Zhao Ying's troubles might be related to Yang Ming. Thinking of her current relationship with Yang Ming, Wang Xiaoyan's heart suddenly tightened. Could it be that Zhao Ying knew about my relationship with Yang Ming? Wang Xiaoyan never thought of hiding anything from Zhao Ying. Her relationship with Yang Ming was only recently confirmed. From the initial cooperative relationship to the current relationship of lovers. Wang Xiaoyan planned to find a suitable opportunity to confess this matter to Zhao Ying. However, during this time, she was really too busy. There was no free time to talk to Zhao Ying. Today was only the first day after returning to China. Thinking of Zhao Ying's bitter smile and unnatural awkwardness when facing her, Wang Xiaoyan seemed to have understood something. Sister Ying, between you and Yang Ming, did something happen? Wang Xiaoyan asked tentatively. Ah. Zhao Ying panicked and the chopsticks in her hand fell on the table. However, she forced herself to pretend to be calm and picked up the chopsticks again. She smiled and said, Yang Ming and I, what could happen? The two of us, actually, it's impossible. Zhao Ying's reaction did not reveal anything in Wang Xiaoyan's eyes. At this moment, Wang Xiaoyan could be completely sure that Zhao Ying's troubles must be related to Yang Ming. At this point, Wang Xiaoyan decided to talk about her and Yang Ming first. Whether Zhao Ying knew or not, these things had to be talked about. Why is it impossible? Wang Xiaoyan said, Sister Ying, I know that Yang Ming actually likes you a lot, but can't you be a little bolder? If you were more proactive, maybe the two of you would already be together. Proactive? Bold. Zhao Ying sighed. When had she not been proactive and bold? That night, she took the initiative to go to Yang Ming's villa and waited for him the whole night, but in the end, Sister Ying, actually, to be honest. Yang Ming and I are together. Wang Xiaoyan gritted her teeth. Since she had to say it sooner or later, she might as well say it all in one go. Ah. Although Zhao Ying already knew that Wang Xiaoyan and Yang Ming were together, she did not expect Wang Xiaoyan to suddenly admit it in front of her. Moreover, she admitted it so naturally. The whole thing came so suddenly that Zhao Ying could not react for a while. Wang Xiaoyan admitted it just like that. Zhao Ying always thought that Wang Xiaoyan was lying to her and hiding it from her. However, when the real Wang Xiaoyan admitted it, Zhao Ying did not know what to do. Zhao Ying could not interfere with Wang Xiaoyan. They were not married. Besides, Zhao Ying was not Yang Ming's girlfriend. Chen Mengyan was there, but she did not say anything. What right did Zhao Ying have to criticize Wang Xiaoyan? Sorry, Sister Ying. Seeing Zhao Ying's panic, Wang Xiaoyan explained very apologetically, between Yang Ming and I, a lot of unexpected things happened. In the end, we ended up together. At first, I just wanted to cooperate with him on some business matters, but I couldn't control my feelings. Yan, actually, you don't have to apologize to me. Seeing Wang Xiaoyan in front of her, who was like a child who did something wrong, how could Zhao Ying blame her? Besides, Wang Xiaoyan didn't have anything to apologize for. Sister Ying, I know you like Yang Ming, but there are some things that I can't control. Wang Xiaoyan said until this point, and her voice was a little choked. On one hand, she really couldn't lose Yang Ming. On the other hand, the guilt towards Zhao Ying came from the bottom of her heart. Yan, you don't have to do this. In a moment, Zhao Ying's knot in her heart melted. What she accepted was that Wang Xiaoyan and Yang Ming were together but kept it from her. However, Wang Xiaoyan had confessed to her, so what was there for Zhao Ying to be angry and confused about? Sister Ying, you really aren't angry? Wang Xiaoyan asked carefully. On the outside, she was a cold-blooded killer. However, in front of Zhao Ying, she was an obedient sister. She really didn't want to ruin her relationship with Zhao Ying. Why would I be angry? Zhao Ying shook her head. My relationship with Yang Ming hasn't been settled yet. If you want to be angry, it's not my turn to be angry. Besides, Yang Ming, this fellow, is very fickle. Compared to hooking up with other women, I'd rather be with you. I'm also relieved. Wang Xiaoyan's face instantly turned red as she stuttered, Sister Ying, you're making fun of me, how am I? Alright, Yan, don't think too much. My relationship with Yang Ming, sigh, there's no use for you to worry. I know my own situation very well. Zhao Ying smiled bitterly. It's not that I'm not willing to take this step. It's just that between the two of us, it's not something that can be solved just by one of us taking this step. Sister Ying, actually I know that Yang Ming still likes you very much. Why don't I tell him? Wang Xiaoyan saw that Zhao Ying wasn't angry at her and returned to her previous mischievous expression. She blinked her eyes and said to Zhao Ying, Don't, please don't. Zhao Ying was shocked and quickly stopped her. It's better for me to say it myself. Huh, then I won't worry. Wang Xiaoyan laughed, very relaxed. Today, she finally said the things that she had kept in her heart for a long time. Hee. Not knowing why, Zhao Ying's mood also became better. Looking at the friendly and cute Wang Xiaoyan opposite her, Zhao Ying really couldn't find a reason to blame her. If the two of them could really be sisters in the future, wouldn't it be a good thing? However, the matter between myself and Yang Ming is really difficult to handle. Sometimes, taking this step is much more difficult than ascending to the sky. Looking at the fragrant fried eggs and soft cakes on the table, Zhao Ying suddenly had a big appetite. In a few bites, she finished all the food on the table. After eating, she found that Wang Xiaoyan was looking at her opposite. Suddenly, she was a little embarrassed. I'm suddenly a little hungry. At this moment, Wang Xiaoyan could finally be sure that Zhao Ying's troubles really came from her. Zhao Ying must have noticed the matter between me and Yang Ming, so she was unhappy. Perhaps, Zhao Ying was angry that I was with Yang Ming and didn't tell her? Thinking of this, Wang Xiaoyan also understood why Zhao Ying didn't contact her for so long. It seemed that Zhao Ying was waiting for her to tell her. Chapter 1222. Looking at Zhao Ying wolfing down the food, Wang Xiaoyan felt a little ashamed. It seemed that Zhao Ying hadn't eaten properly for a while. Until today, she finally put aside the knot in her heart. Sister Ying, where do you live now? Wang Xiaoyan watched Zhao Ying finish eating and handed a napkin to Zhao Ying, then asked. Thinking of her residence, Zhao Ying suddenly felt a little embarrassed, but she didn't interrupt Wang Xiaoyan. I live very close to you, in the Huashang district, huh? Wang Xiaoyan was stunned. She didn't expect Zhao Ying to live so close to her. Then, she and Yang Ming always appeared together in the community. Zhao Ying must have seen them several times, right? Sister Ying. You also live in the community? When did you buy the house? Or did you rent it? Wang Xiaoyan asked quickly. It's... Yang Ming bought it for me. Zhao Ying's face was red as she whispered. Yang Ming? Wang Xiaoyan was slightly stunned, but she covered her mouth and laughed. Sister Ying, it turns out that Yang Ming is planning to hide a mistress in a golden house. Haha. What do you mean by hiding a mistress in a golden house? Don't talk nonsense. Zhao Ying's face was even redder. In the beginning, I asked Yang Ming to pretend to be my boyfriend to see my mother. In the end, my mother wanted the house. Don't explain. Explaining is covering up. Wang Xiaoyan smiled even more happily. Sister Ying, Yang Ming bought a house for you, and you also want it. What's the gap between you two? AI. Zhao Ying sighed slightly. Yan, you don't know. In the beginning, Yang Ming and I were teacher and student. At that time, I rejected him, so now. In short, it's... Zhao Ying couldn't tell what the gap between her and Yang Ming was. Was it her own cowardice, or was it the fear of Chen Mengyan calling her a vixen on the street, or was it the fear that Yang Ming would reject her? Or was it something else? Wang Xiaoyan saw Zhao Ying's appearance. Although she sympathized with her, she also knew that other people couldn't help in matters of the heart. The more you help, the more trouble you will get. If Zhao Ying wanted to get her own happiness, she could only rely on herself to fight for it. No one could help her. Alright, Sister Ying, I got it. Since you don't want to talk about it, I won't ask. Wang Xiaoyan said, in the future, let's make an appointment to go to school together every morning. Or you can stay at my house at night. Zhao Ying was stunned. She looked at Wang Xiaoyan and said strangely, Yan, don't you live with Yang Ming every day and go to school together? I don't. Wang Xiaoyan smiled bitterly and shook her head. Yang Ming is so busy. How can he accompany me every day? Having said that, Yang Ming and I built our relationship completely through work. I can't ask for anything from Yang Ming. Now, I think it's quite good. Listening to Wang Xiaoyan, Zhao Ying was suddenly happy. We can live together again. Of course, that's good. Otherwise, every night, I really have nothing to do. Then tonight, you stay at my house. Wang Xiaoyan sent an invitation to Zhao Ying. Okay. Zhao Ying nodded happily. Recently, Sun Jia had returned to her home in Donghai. Xiao Qing was very busy, so Zhao Ying really had no activities at night. It was a good choice to be with Wang Xiaoyan. After the two people decided, they looked at the time. It was time for their respective classes, so they walked out of the cafeteria together. After making an appointment to contact by phone at night, they walked to their respective teaching buildings. When Yang Ming rushed to the headquarters of Ming Yang Entertainment, Bao Sanli and Ho Junhan were sitting in the general manager's office. They were methodically directing the security guards of the Ming Yang Security Company to search for Chu Daming and Lu Chan's whereabouts, but their expressions were very gloomy. Seeing that Yang Ming had come, Ho Junhan and Bao Sanli stood up at the same time. They shouted bitterly, Brother Yang. How is it? Is there any news? Yang Ming just asked casually. From the faces of Ho Junhan and Bao Sanli, he already knew the answer. If they found them, the faces of the two would not be so ugly. Not yet. Ho Junhan shook his head. When we found that the two people disappeared, it had been a while. This time is enough for them to escape and hide. Is there no one in their home? Yang Ming nodded and did not blame Bao Sanli and Ho Junhan. No, they have not returned home, Bao Sanli said. It seems that they have planned it a long time ago. They have no family in their home. They should have moved their family long ago. This way. Yang Ming hesitated and said, let's call the police first. Call the police? Call the police for what? Bao Sanli was stunned. His face showed a strange expression. From Bao Sanli's expression, Yang Ming could naturally guess his thoughts. Bao Sanli was a gangster. The way he solved things was also by violence. He never thought of finding the police to solve it. Thinking of this, Yang Ming explained, Baozi, now we are a legitimate company. We operate according to the law and pay taxes according to the law. After this kind of thing happens, we naturally have to find the police to solve it. Moreover, they are more familiar with solving this kind of thing than us. It's better than us searching the whole city, right? Bao Sanli listened to Yang Ming, and his head turned around. Indeed, now the company was operating and paying taxes legally. If there was such a case of the deputy general manager embezzling public funds, it was natural to call the police to solve it. Thinking of this, Bao Sanli quickly nodded. Yes, we should call the police first. The police issued an arrest warrant. It is much more effective than us searching the whole city. About 10 minutes later, Chen Fei rushed to the headquarters of Ming Yang Entertainment Company with a few police officers. Under the leadership of Guo Jianchao, they came to the general manager's office. Bureau Chief Chen. Ho Zhenhan quickly stepped forward and shook hands with Chen Fei. After that, it was Bao Sanli's turn. Chen Fei was very clear about Bao Sanli's past. He knew that this kid was a gangster. However, Chen Fei was still a bit puzzled when Bao Sanli suddenly set up a security company and went on the right path. However, Chen Fei was also very pleased that Bao Sanli could turn over a new leaf. After that, Chen Fei didn't discriminate against Bao Sanli. He just regarded him as a successful businessman. After shaking hands with these two, Chen Fei suddenly found Yang Ming standing in the office. He was suddenly stunned. Yang Ming? Why are you here? Uncle Chen. Yang Ming smiled and came forward. Uncle Chen, in fact, I also have shares in this company. I started it with Ho Zhenhan and Bao Sanli. Because I was still a student, I didn't have time to manage it, so I didn't participate in the specific operations. Now, such a big thing happened in the company. Naturally, I have to be there. Oh. Chen Fei looked at Yang Ming suspiciously. How do you have so much money? My godfather gave it to me. Yang Ming pushed the matter of the funds to Lu Weishan. Anyway, the matter of participating in the Hong Kong auction was also well documented. Yang Ming was not afraid of Chen Fei investigating further. So that's the case. Chen Fei nodded. However, do your parents know that you are doing this? This matter, let me tell you slowly later, Uncle Chen. Yang Ming waved his hand. Now, the top priority is to catch the two vice presidents. Right, I almost forgot about the business. Chen Fei quickly said, take us to the office of the two vice presidents. Ho Zhenhan nodded and took Chen Fei and the police to Lu Chan and Chu Daming's office. Chen Fei was better at criminal investigation work. He listened carefully to Ho Zhenhan and Bao Sanli's introduction of the situation at the time. After hearing that the two had absconded for a long time, Chen Fei asked, what are the license plates and models of the cars they drove? Lu Chan drove an Audi A6L. The license plate number is Song AEG 777. Chu Daming drove a Mercedes-Benz SL 600. The license plate number is Song GGG 888. Bao Sanli introduced. When did they drive out of the company parking lot? Asked Chen Fei. According to the video of the parking lot, the time they left was 9:48. Ho Zhenhan had checked the surveillance video before, so he knew the data. Chen Fei nodded, took out the phone, dialed a number, and said, is this the Traffic Police Command Center? I am Chen Fei. Hello, Director's son, help me check the surveillance video near the Ming Yang Entertainment Company on Simon Road at 9:48. Track an Audi A6L with the license plate number of Song AEG 777 and a Mercedes-Benz SL 600 with the license plate number of Song GGG 888. Okay, call me immediately after you find out where they went. After listening to Chen Fei's phone call, Bao Sanli and Ho Junhan both brightened up. Why didn't they think of this simple method before? As long as they tracked the surveillance video at each intersection at the time, they could easily find the whereabouts of the two cars. As a matter of fact, Chen Fei was a criminal investigator. He couldn't be more familiar with the way to solve this kind of case. The top priority was naturally to investigate the whereabouts of the two cars. Not long after, Chen Fei's phone rang. Chen Fei picked up the phone and listened carefully for a while. Then he nodded and said, "Okay, I got it." "How is it?" asked Bao Sanli quickly. "There is news. These two cars didn't drive in the same direction after they went out, but they went in opposite directions. However, they finally met at the entrance of Songjiang Garden. The people in the car took a taxi with the license plate number of Song A55104 and left. The car was left in the parking lot at the entrance of Songjiang Garden." Chen Fei said, "I have already contacted the taxi driver. I believe there will be a result soon." Sure enough, there was news soon. The traffic police called and said that the taxi driver did send two people to the Songjiang bus terminal. The appearance of these two people was the same as what Chen Fei described. Songjiang bus terminal? It seems that they want to escape, asked Ho Junhan subconsciously. There is this possibility. Chen Fei nodded. They chose to leave by bus. This kind of transportation has the most lax inspection. It seems that it was premeditated. However, I have sent someone to the bus terminal to investigate this matter. Fortunately, the waiting hall of the Songjiang bus terminal was also installed with surveillance video. Now, many public places in Songjiang were installed with surveillance video. As a bus terminal, a place with a particularly large flow of people, it was naturally no exception. Although the investigation was more troublesome, Lu Chan and Chu Daming's figures were finally found in the surveillance video. After confirmation, the two bought tickets to Donghai and left Songjiang by the previous bus. The distance between Songjiang and Donghai was relatively close. Obviously, Lu Chan and Chu Daming must have arrived in Donghai. Lu Chan and Chu Daming changed buses halfway, indicating that the two still had a certain awareness of anti-reconnaissance, but after all, they were not professionals. They didn't know that it was useless to change buses. In the end, they were still found. Donghai? When Yang Ming heard where Lu Chan and Chu Daming went, he was slightly stunned. He subconsciously thought of Sun Jie. Because Yang Ming only knew Sun Jie in Donghai. Yes, after confirmation, the two of them have fled to Donghai. Ho Junhan reported to Yang Ming. Chen Fei and his police officers had finished the investigation and returned. Apparently, they were preparing to transfer manpower to Donghai. As for Yang Ming's matter, he could only talk to Chen Fei in detail after the case was over. Chen Fei didn't have time to entangle with this now. Although Chen Fei had some complaints about Yang Ming and Bao Sanli mixing together, Bao Sanli was doing a legitimate business, so Chen Fei was relieved. What are they doing in Donghai? Yang Ming frowned. Intuitively, this matter didn't seem to be simple. Logically, if these two people wanted to escape, they shouldn't run to Donghai. Generally, people would run to a small place. The more remote it was, the harder it was to be found. Why would they run to the provincial capital? It was a bit unreasonable. Who knows? Bao Sanli didn't know what Lu Chan and Chu Daming were thinking, so he shook his head. Let's wait for the results. I still believe in Uncle Chen's ability. Yang Ming didn't care about the 130 million yuan, but he must take this as a warning to alert Bao Sanli and Ho Junhan. He would never allow similar things to happen in the company again. Brother Yang. I'm sorry. Bao Sanli said carefully, but he was interrupted by Yang Ming halfway. I understand your difficulties at the time. This time, I will let it go. Yang Ming waved his hand. But, don't let it happen again. I understand. Bao Sanli nodded quickly and breathed a sigh of relief. It seemed that Yang Ming didn't intend to pursue his responsibility. This time, I am also responsible. I haven't been ruthless enough to ask you to clean up the company's parasites. As a result, it led to the current situation. Yang Ming sighed and said, I informed you last night. I didn't expect something to happen this morning. It seems that they have been planning for a long time. Bao Sanli lowered his head with some shame, but Yang Ming didn't pursue it. Bao Sanli still blamed himself in his heart. It was his duty to check the company's accounts. He didn't need Yang Ming to remind him. Therefore, Bao Sanli knew that this was all caused by himself. He made up his mind that he would never let this kind of thing happen again. Thinking of Sun Jia, Yang Ming suddenly remembered that he called Sun Jia last night, but her phone was turned off. So, he picked up the phone again and dialed Sun Jia's number. However, after the phone was dialed, it was still turned off. Yang Ming frowned. Sun Jia shouldn't have turned on her phone during the day, right? Even if the phone was turned off at night because of charging or other reasons, why didn't she turn it on at noon? Chapter 12:23. Could it be that something happened to Sun Jia? Thinking of this possibility, Yang Ming couldn't sit still. Previously, when the company's money was taken away, Yang Ming was just angry, but he wasn't worried. But now that it was related to Sun Jia, Yang Ming couldn't calm down. When he called again, it was still the cold female voice that indicated that the phone was turned off. Yang Ming called the landline of Sun Jia's home again, but the phone rang many times until it was automatically hung up. There was no answer, and no one answered. Although Yang Ming was very confident in Sun Jia's ability to deal with things, it was precisely because of this that Sun Jia had never rashly turned on her mobile phone. Even if she didn't turn on her mobile phone at night, there was no reason to turn it off during the day. This was the reason why Yang Ming was really worried. However, there was no way to worry now. Yang Ming couldn't go to Donghai personally to see what happened. He could only put this matter aside first. He would contact Sun Jia again in the evening, or ask Xiao Qing when he saw her. Big Ho, Baozi, you two are responsible for following up on the company's matters. Don't blame yourself too much. Yang Ming said, in addition, during the time when the police are in charge of the investigation, you should also investigate the people around Lu Chan and Chu Daming in the company. See if they have frequent contacts or phone calls during this time. Try to find some clues as much as possible. I understand. Bao Sanli and Ho Jinhan nodded solemnly. Don't worry. I will do this well. Yang Ming finished explaining the matter, so there was no need to continue to stay in the company. However, at this moment, Yang Ming was thinking about something in his heart. The company's vice presidents, Lu Chan and Chu Daming, emptied the company, but someone paid to assassinate Ho Jinhan and Bao Sanli. Is there any necessary connection between these two things? Is it a coincidence, or is there any unspeakable connection? If Bao Sanli and Ho Jinhan are dead, who is the biggest beneficiary? According to common sense, the beneficiary should be the immediate family of Ho Jinhan and Bao Sanli because according to the inheritance law, their immediate family members enjoyed the company's inheritance rights. However, it didn't rule out that Lu Chan and Chu Daming used extraordinary means to take the company away. When Bao Sanli and Ho Jinhan died, the company's accounts were unclear. The deficit of 130 million yuan couldn't be attributed to Lu Chan and Chu Daming. They could also completely shift the blame to Ho Jinhan and Bao Sanli. In any case, since there was no evidence, they would definitely be able to escape this calamity. So in this way, Lu Chan and Chu Daming could use some extraordinary means to let the family of Bao Sanli and Ho Jinhan give up on inheriting the company and really control the company's management rights in their hands. Of course, Lu Chan and Chu Daming didn't know the fact that the behind-the-scenes owner of the company was Yang Ming. Although they knew Yang Ming, they only knew that Yang Ming had a good relationship with Bao Sanli and Ho Junhan. It was impossible to think that Ming Yang Entertainment was actually Yang Ming's company. To sum up, the biggest beneficiary of this matter was Chu Daiming and Lu Chan. Perhaps the two found an assassin to assassinate Ho Junhan and Bao Sanli, but because Wang Kejin had wasted a lot of time on the mission of assassinating Yang Ming, he didn't make a move on Bao Sanli and Ho Junhan. This made Lu Chan and Chu Daiming anxious, so they planned a second plan, which was an escape plan. Or perhaps, the escape plan had already been formulated, and the two of them had made preparations for both sides. This was unknown. But in any case, perhaps the two didn't wait for the news of Bao Sanli and Ho Junhan being assassinated. In addition, Bao Sanli and Ho Junhan came to the company this morning to check the accounts, so Lu Chan and Chu Daiming had to escape in advance. Because of what Bao Sanli used to do, Lu Chan and Chu Daiming were very clear. It was difficult to guarantee what Bao Sanli would do when he was angry, so the two chose to escape. As for why the two fled to Donghai instead of other remote cities, this explained the problem. But Yang Ming couldn't figure out the reason why the two people did this. He could only wait until the two were caught, then he would reveal the mystery. After receiving the call from Lu Chan and Chu Daiming, Tian Long's face was pale. He didn't expect the matter in Songjiang to be exposed so quickly. You said that Bao Sanli and Ho Junhan went to the company to check the accounts this morning? Tian Long knew that Chu Daiming and Lu Chan couldn't be blamed for this kind of emergency, but the taste of failure when you were about to succeed was still very uncomfortable. Yes, Brother Long, Lu Chan said carefully, we didn't expect that Bao Sanli and Ho Junhan would go to the company to check the accounts at this time. The company has been established for so long, and he has always trusted us. But at this time, didn't Boss Sui say that he had found the assassin? Why is there no movement for so long? Tian Long suddenly thought that Bao Sanli and Ho Junhan were supposed to die in the plan. We don't know. During this time, Ho Junhan and Bao Sanli are fine. It doesn't look like they have been assassinated. Lu Chan shook his head. Did Boss Sui lie to me? It can't be. What good is it for him to lie to me? Tian Long frowned. Brother Long, we have no other place to go now. We can only rely on you. You can't abandon us. Lu Chan said quickly. Don't worry. You can just come. I will find a place for the two of you to hide. Tian Long said faintly. Fortunately, Tian Long's ambition was in Donghai. He had never been interested in Songjiang. If the mysterious boss didn't ask him to completely destroy the power of Songjiang, Ho Junhan and Bao Sanli, Tian Long wouldn't bother to touch them. It was just that since the boss behind the scenes ordered, he had to do it. Now, the plan had failed halfway, and the boss behind the scenes couldn't blame him. It could only be said that man proposes but God disposes. After hanging up Lu Chan's phone call, Tian Long called Sui Yuejin. Boss Sui, what happened to the assassin you hired? Why is there no movement for so long? Bao Sanli and Ho Junhan are still alive? When Tian Long said this, he couldn't help but be annoyed. He couldn't even do such a small thing. It seems that Sui Yuejin's ability is just average. Is there still no movement? I have already made the order. It stands to reason that they should have acted in these 2 days, right? Sui Yuejin listened to Tian Long's question and was stunned. Action? Humph. Tian Long said coldly, Boss Sui, are you not working hard? Bao Sanli and Ho Junhan came to the company today for a surprise audit. Lu Chan and Chu Daiming have been scared away. Now, they are running to my Donghai. Brother Long, you can't say that. I am looking for the world's top assassin organization. As for why Bao Sanli and Ho Junhan are still fine, I don't know. But if you say that you are not working hard, that is impossible. Sui Yuejin listened to Tian Long's words and was shocked. Although he felt that he was in the wrong, he couldn't help but argue. After all, he did contact the assassin organization. The current situation was not what he wanted to see. You should hurry up as soon as possible. If these two people don't die, your plan to get Jiduan City will be ruined. You can do as you see fit. Tianlong said with a sneer. I understand. Although Sui Yuejin was very upset by Tianlong's tone, there was no way. Indeed, Tianlong's goal was only Donghai. Sui Yuejin wanted Songjiang and Jiduan City. I made a mistake here, but Tianlong is still worried about me. It's not bad. If it were someone else, they might not care about it. Hanging up the phone, Tianlong sighed slightly. Things are a bit difficult to handle. If the forces of Bao Sanli and Ho Jinhan are not destroyed, how can I explain to the mysterious boss? If I can catch Yang Ming, I can still explain to the mysterious boss. If I don't catch Yang Ming, it means that I owe the mysterious boss too much. How can I repay it in the future? Thinking of this, Tianlong had to reconsider Yang Ming's matter. It was obviously not a good idea to let Sun Jia call Yang Ming. Sun Jia obviously wouldn't do it to deceive Yang Ming. Tianlong was very familiar with Sun Jia's character. If Sun Jia were to call Yang Ming, Sun Jia would never lie to deceive Yang Ming. What she said to Yang Ming was probably to let Yang Ming be careful and not be fooled by Tianlong. In that case, Yang Ming would be on guard. If they wanted to catch Yang Ming by surprise, it would be extremely difficult. Bao Sanli and Ho Jinhan's forces belonged to Yang Ming. Tianlong was very clear about this. He was a close person to Sun Hongjun, and he was very familiar with the underworld. Once Yang Ming was prepared, it would bring about a one-of-a-kind revenge and a fight. That was not the result that Tianlong wanted. What Tianlong wanted was to catch Yang Ming without harming his own interests. If it was too laborious, it was not necessary. In the end, if both sides suffered losses, then what was the use of controlling the Sun family's forces in Donghai? So, how can I lure Yang Ming into the trap without alerting him? It was obviously unrealistic to make a move on Yang Ming in Songjiang. Tianlong didn't know if Yang Ming had bodyguards protecting him. The best way was to let Yang Ming come to Songjiang. Thinking about it, the only person who could be connected to Yang Ming was Tian Donghua, but Tian Donghua didn't want to help him to lure Yang Ming. It seemed that he could only do it himself. Thinking of his son, Tian Donghua, Tianlong suddenly came up with a more brilliant idea. Of course, he thought it was more brilliant. Shortly after Yang Ming left the headquarters of Ming Yang Entertainment Company, his mobile phone rang. Yang Ming picked it up and saw that it was actually Tianlong's number. Previously, Yang Ming only met Tianlong once at the Immortal Resort. At that time, they exchanged phone numbers. After that, there was no contact. Now, at this time, Tianlong called him. What could be the matter? Hello, Uncle Tian? Yang Ming asked in a hesitant tone. Yang Ming, it's me. Tianlong's hearty laughter came from the other side of the phone. Uncle Tian, it's really you. When I saw the caller ID, I was still a little hesitant. Yang Ming also smiled. Uncle Tian, are you looking for me? Matter, there is a little matter, but I don't know if you have time, Yang Ming? Tianlong had already thought about how to say it, so at this moment, his tone was very natural. Time? Yes, Uncle Tian. If you have something to say, just say it. Yang Ming's first impression of Tianlong was good. Because of Tian Donghua, Yang Ming was very polite to Tianlong. The more important reason was that Tianlong was the arm of the Sun family. Since Yang Ming was the son-in-law of the Sun family, naturally, he would have to deal with Tianlong in the future. However, Yang Ming's ambition was in Country X in Africa. He had no interest in the gang business here. Yang Ming's initial plan was that if Sun Hongjun really retired, and Sun Jia and Yang Ming obviously couldn't inherit his family business, and Sun Jiwei wasn't a talent in this area, then this heavy responsibility could only fall on Tian Donghua. Yang Ming could only leave these affairs to Tian Donghua. Although there were some suspicions of giving away the Sun family's business, Yang Ming's energy was limited. He really couldn't take care of these things. At most, he would leave some shares to Sun Jiwei. This is the case. Yang Ming, I want to talk to you about Donghua, this child, and his girlfriend. Tianlong felt that this reason was very natural. It was normal to find a good friend of his son to understand his son's school. Looking for me? Talk about Tian Donghua. Yang Ming was stunned and suddenly showed a strange expression. Uncle Tian, are you looking for me for this? What else can I look for you for? Tianlong sighed. I have been busy with my career these years, and I have become more and more estranged from Tian Donghua. Now that Tian Donghua has a girlfriend, I don't even know what his girlfriend's family does. Tian Donghua, this kid, didn't tell me, and I don't know what he is busy with in school every day. It turned out to be like this. Although Yang Ming felt that Tianlong seemed to be making a fuss, he could understand Tianlong's mood. It was the pity of parents in the world. Thinking about his own parents' attitude toward him when he took the college entrance examination, Yang Ming also understood. However, now that Tian Donghua was so old, Tianlong was still so worried about his affairs. This was a bit strange. Uncle Tian, what do you want to know? Yang Ming felt that betraying Tian Donghua behind his back was not something a friend should do, so whatever Tianlong asked, Yang Ming could only answer selectively. It would be best if he could communicate with Tian Donghua in advance, but there was no time now. Let's do this. Yang Ming, it's almost noon. Uncle will treat you to a meal. Let's talk while we eat. Tianlong led Yang Ming into his trap step by step. Eat? Uncle Tian, are you in Songjiang? Yang Ming was stunned and asked. No, I am in Donghai. How about this? You take a taxi and come to Donghai. Uncle will reimburse you for the fare. Very soon, it will be over in an hour. Tianlong said, Uncle can't leave someone here, so I can only trouble you to come over. Me? Go over? Go to Donghai? Yang Ming felt a little strange after listening to Tianlong's suggestion. He felt that Tianlong was really making a fuss over nothing. Obviously, he could explain things clearly on the phone, but he insisted on talking about it in person. Moreover, if Tianlong was in Songjiang, it would be fine. After all, it was easy to come out and have a meal together. However, the problem now was that Tianlong was in Donghai. In order to meet him for a meal and chat, Yang Ming had to drive an hour. Yang Ming, if you have something to do, then forget it. Let's talk about it another day. Tianlong's voice sounded a little regretful. If I go, there is no problem. After all, Tianlong had a request for him for the first time. As a junior, Yang Ming really couldn't refuse. In fact, what made Yang Ming most tempted was going to Donghai. Before, Yang Ming had not been able to contact Sun Jie. Yang Ming also wanted to see Sun Jie and see how she was doing. Therefore, Yang Ming simply agreed. Uncle Tian, then I will drive there myself. You can tell me the place. Let's go to the Spring Garden Hotel in Donghai. After you go there, just tell the lobby manager that you are looking for me. Tianlong saw that Yang Ming agreed with him, and his heart was suddenly happy. Okay, Uncle Tian, then I will see you later. Yang Ming responded and hung up the phone. However, Yang Ming's heart was full of doubts. Tianlong suddenly looked for him just to understand Tian Donghua's matter. Tianlong wanted him to go all the way to Donghai. No matter how he thought about it, it was a bit unreasonable. However, Yang Ming couldn't think of other reasons. Although he was puzzled, he could only suppress his doubts in his heart. Before leaving for Donghai, Yang Ming decided to call Tian Donghua first. It had been so long since school started, but he had not been to school. He had been busy with things outside. He didn't know if there was anything going on at school. Zhang Bin was busy with the jewelry company during this time. It was estimated that he had no time to go to school. Yang Ming wanted to ask about the situation at school. The only person he could find was Tian Donghua. This kid was with Wang Shui all day long. He had become a member of Yang Ming's class, so he just had to ask Tian Donghua about the things in the class. On the one hand, he wanted to ask about the school. On the other hand, he wanted to ask Tian Donghua if this kid had gotten into trouble recently. Before Yang Ming met Tian Long, he wanted to unify with him. "Old Tian, it's me." Yang Ming dialed Tian Donghua's phone. "Yang Ming? Wait for me. I am in the classroom. I will go out to the corridor." Tian Donghua and the voice of the teacher in the classroom came from the phone. The management of the university's classroom was lax. For a young master like Tian Donghua, it was obvious that he came to school to waste time. The teacher also turned a blind eye to his usual behavior. Chapter 12:24. "Buddy, where are you? Why haven't I seen you for a long time?" Tian Donghua went out of the classroom and his voice became louder. "I went out of town a few days ago." Yang Ming didn't say that he went abroad. After all, these things were relatively secret. Yang Ming wouldn't tell others easily. "During this time, is there anything going on in the class?" "No, but the tutor, Xia Yongxiang, asked where you went once. We said we didn't know, so he didn't ask again." Tian Donghua thought about it. I know. He probably asked my sister, Xiaoqing, and she helped me cover it up." Yang Ming said with a smile. Xiaoqing knew that he had to go out to do things, so she probably covered for him with Xia Yongxiang. "It's good that you have such a sister. You can skip class at any time." In the class, there is a kid who doesn't go to class. He didn't come for 2 weeks, and he was criticized. Tian Donghua smiled enviously. "You don't even need a sister. I guess you haven't even been to your own class, right?" Yang Ming said with some sarcasm. Yeah, but I paid for it. Unlike you, the school doesn't care about me." Tian Donghua didn't care and said with a smile. "Are you going to stay like this?" Yang Ming sighed. No wonder Tian Long was worried about him. Tian Donghua seemed to have no plan and purpose in life until now. "Just stay like this first." Tian Donghua didn't understand the meaning of Yang Ming and still said in a joking tone. "Don't you want to take over your father's family business in the future?" asked Yang Ming. Let's talk about it later." Thinking of the things his father had done recently, Tian Donghua was a little upset. From the bottom of his heart, he didn't agree with his father doing this. The Tian family relied on the Sun family to gain a foothold, but in turn, his father made a move on the Sun family. It was morally unacceptable. It was just that Tian Donghua and the Sun family didn't have any feelings. His impression of Sun Jiwei was even worse, so he didn't interfere with his father's behavior. In fact, he had no way to interfere. His resistance was meaningless. If Tian Donghua didn't want to fall out with Tian Long probably wouldn't give up on the matter that was disadvantageous to Yang Ming. Yang Ming didn't know what Tian Donghua was thinking. He still wanted to hand over the future business of Donghai to Tian Donghua, but now it seemed that Tian Donghua's mind was not on this at all. "Old Tian, your father just called me." Yang Ming thought about it and felt that it was necessary to inform Tian Donghua in advance. "Your father wants to know about your situation in school from me. He asked me to go to Donghai." "Ah." When Tian Donghua heard Yang Ming's words, he suddenly exclaimed. Even his voice changed. "Yang Ming, my dad is looking for you." "When did this happen? What's wrong?" "Just now." Yang Ming wondered why Tian Donghua's reaction was so big. "Old Tian, did you really do something? Why are you so afraid?" "No, Yang Ming. You tell me first. When did my dad look for you?" Tian Donghua interrupted Yang Ming's words and asked in a panic. Just now, before I called you. The more Yang Ming listened to Tian Donghua's attitude, the stranger it became. Old Tian, didn't I call you immediately to compare statements with you? If I say too much, it will be disadvantageous to you, right? Fortunately, you called me. Tian Donghua breathed a sigh of relief, but his heart was also struggling fiercely. Tian Donghua was very clear about why his father called Yang Ming and what his father wanted to do. At this moment, he had to make a choice. Either he told Yang Ming about his father's conspiracy, or he hid it from Yang Ming. However, he couldn't betray his friend. Wang Shui had already betrayed Yang Ming and betrayed Yang Ming once. At that time, Tian Donghua even almost broke up with Wang Shui. If Yang Ming didn't plead for Wang Shui, Tian Donghua would have already kicked Wang Shui away. Although he also liked Wang Shui, if he had to choose between Wang Shui and his friends, he would choose his friends. It could be said that Tian Donghua was a very loyal person. However, now he was faced with the choice between family and friendship. Tian Donghua really didn't want to betray his father, but his father lied to him. He said that he didn't intend to make a move on Yang Ming. As a result, in just a few days, he came up with such a reason to deceive Yang Ming to Dong Hai. If his father didn't make a move on Yang Ming, Tian Donghua would treat it as if this had never happened. He wouldn't say anything to Yang Ming. But now, his father violated his own promise. This was what Tian Donghua couldn't accept and tolerate. Thinking of this, Tian Donghua had made a decision. One of the most important decisions in his life. It was also because of this decision that he saved his father at the last moment, saving his father from death. What do you mean by fortunately calling you? Yang Ming frowned slightly. In the face of Tian Donghua's clueless words, Yang Ming was really puzzled. Old Tian, what are you talking about? Yang Ming, where are you? You wait for me. I will come to you now. Tian Donghua said in a hurry. I am on the way to school. Yang Ming said. Before receiving Tian Long's call, Yang Ming was going to school. It was because he received Tian Long's call that Yang Ming temporarily changed his itinerary. In this case, I will wait for you at the school gate. Tian Donghua didn't allow any explanation and hung up the phone. Yang Ming didn't know why Tian Donghua was so mysterious, but he still drove in the direction of the school. Tian Donghua, after hanging up Yang Ming's phone call, hurried back to the classroom and said to Wang Shui, I have something important to do now. I have to go out. Now? Wang Shui wasn't an unreasonable person. Seeing Tian Donghua's anxious look, she nodded. Then, will you come back for lunch? I don't know yet. Maybe I won't eat. You eat by yourself. I will contact you by phone. Tian Donghua said. Okay, then contact me by phone. You be careful. Wang Shui saw that Tian Donghua should have something, but Tian Donghua didn't say in detail, so she didn't ask much. There is no danger. It's fine. Tian Donghua smiled bitterly. His father wouldn't do anything bad to him. He was not in danger. We have already let Yang Ming down once. We can't let him down a second time. Wang Shui was stunned after listening to Tian Donghua's words. Yang Ming? It's nothing. You pay attention to the class. I will talk to you about this later. Tian Donghua waved his hand and walked out of the classroom. Looking at Tian Donghua, who entered and left the classroom as if he was going through the city gate, the teacher could only smile helplessly. University was like this. If you didn't study, the teacher wouldn't care about you. The attendance was occasionally called by the tutor. In other cases, they were basically left to their own devices. The first semester of freshman year was better, but no one cared after that. Especially for students like Tian Donghua who spent money, the teachers knew what was going on in their hearts. They were even more negligent in their management. Tian Donghua quickly ran out of the teaching building and ran in the direction of the school gate. Tian Donghua was angrier as he thought about it. His father promised him not to touch Yang Ming. As a result, his father actually called Yang Ming behind his back and wanted to trick him to go to Donghai. This made Tian Donghua extremely angry. After hesitating, Tian Donghua picked up the phone and dialed his father's phone number. Hello? Donghua. Tian Long saw his son's phone call and was stunned. It was reasonable to say that Tian Donghua rarely took the initiative to call him. Dad, where are you? Tian Donghua asked faintly. I am at the company. What's wrong? What's the matter? Tian Long was more and more baffled. Why did his son call him like this? Dad, I heard that you asked Yang Ming to go to Donghai. You want to know about my usual movements at school. Is this really the case? Tian Donghua wanted to expose his father's conspiracy, but the other party was his father after all. Tian Donghua could only beat around the bush. Ah. Tian Long's face suddenly changed. Yang Ming told you? Yeah, Yang Ming will naturally tell me. Tian Donghua said coldly, Yang Ming is my buddy. If you want to understand me, he will definitely agree with me first. So it's like this. I just want to find Yang Ming and ask about your situation at school. Tian Long's tone became a little unnatural. The feeling of being caught by his son on the spot made him very uncomfortable. Is this really the case? Tian Donghua snorted. Do you think I will believe it? Of course, it's true. Tian Long knew that his plan to catch Yang Ming was ruined. He calculated everything, but he didn't expect that Yang Ming would communicate with Tian Donghua after receiving his call. He stood from the perspective of a father and said these words to his son's good friend, Yang Ming. He hoped that Yang Ming could hide from Tian Donghua and tell him what Tian Donghua did. In his opinion, this was for Tian Donghua's good. Yang Ming should be able to understand. However, he ignored one point. That was the brotherhood between Yang Ming and Tian Donghua. Whether Tian Donghua was good or not, Yang Ming couldn't directly betray Tian Donghua. He would definitely discuss with Tian Donghua first. As a result, his plan failed. Now that he thought about it, he was indeed a little too eager for quick success. When he learned that Bao Sanli and Ho Zhenhan had seen through the conspiracy of Chu Daiming and Lu Chan, he became a little anxious. Because he had to give some explanation to the boss behind the scenes. Before the rebellion in Donghai, when Tian Long bought a lot of people's hearts, the mysterious behind-the-scenes boss gave him very generous financial support. Now, the boss's task was not completed. Tian Long could only pin his hopes on catching Yang Ming. Now that he thought about it, his plan was full of loopholes. Even if Yang Ming didn't talk to Yang Ming should doubt his motives and purpose. However, Tian Long still didn't consider the most critical problem. That was Yang Ming so easy to catch? He didn't know Yang Ming's other identity. He thought that Yang Ming was just a student who knew some kung fu. As long as he sent more people, it should be easy to catch him. Dad, are you still lying to me? Tian Donghua was obviously not a fool. After hearing Yang Ming's words at the beginning, he saw through his father's conspiracy. Tian Long sighed. He also understood that no matter how he explained now, Tian Donghua would not believe it. He could only blame himself for telling Tian Donghua that he wanted to deal with Yang Ming. Dad, didn't you promise me? Why didn't you do it to Yang Ming? How can you go back on your words? Tian Donghua finally couldn't stand his emotions and broke out. You didn't keep your words. Donghua, it's not that Dad went back on his words, but some unexpected changes happened. Only by catching Yang Ming can I save it. Tian Long explained, the other things that the boss told me have been done wrong. I can only remedy it from other aspects. Therefore, catching Yang Ming is the only way to remedy it. Dad, I have already said that I don't want to interfere with what you do, and I can't interfere. But you can't do it to my friend. Tian Donghua said firmly, you promise me. You must promise. If you have any ideas about Yang Ming, I will break off the relationship with you. Tian Long took a deep breath. He didn't expect his son to have such a personality. However, now that his son had seen through his plan, it was impossible for him to catch Yang Ming, so it didn't make sense to say this now. Even if Tian Long wanted to make a move on Yang Ming, it was more difficult. Okay, I promise you. Tian Long said helplessly. Tian Donghua didn't say anything and silently hung up the phone. Is my father's promise really useful? Tian Donghua smiled bitterly. In fact, he also understood. He was very clear in his heart. If it was useful, his father wouldn't have gone back on his words after promising him before. If his father really went back on his words, could he really break away from the relationship between father and son? Tian Donghua still smiled bitterly. In any case, they were father and son. This was an unchangeable fact. Tian Donghua could only work hard for his own beliefs. However, his father really broke his promise. What could he do? It seemed that he could only remind Yang Ming. He really didn't have any other good ideas. Standing at the school gate for a while, he saw Yang Ming's car driving over from a distance and slowly stopped beside him. Old Tian, get in the car. Yang Ming opened the door of the front passenger seat and said to Tian Donghua, who was standing by. Tian Donghua was not polite and directly got in the car. Yang Ming, I haven't seen you for a long time. I miss you. I went on a long trip. Yang Ming said, Old Tian, you are in such a hurry. Why are you looking for me? Yang Ming, I am looking for you for something. Tian Donghua hesitated, and his face showed an awkward expression. Although Tian Donghua had made up his mind to tell Yang Ming about his father's intention to harm Yang Ming, after all, the person involved was his father. Tian Donghua found it difficult to speak. Old Tian, what is the matter? Just say it. Yang Ming also saw that Tian Donghua seemed to have some difficulty speaking, so he said, why don't we find a quiet place to talk? Okay. Tian Donghua nodded. Tian Donghua was really embarrassed to talk in the car. It's just noon. Let's find a restaurant. I will treat you to a meal. Yang Ming smiled and said, well, let's find a Western restaurant. I know that there is a Russian restaurant nearby that is relatively quiet. Yang Ming drove to the nearby Persian Western restaurant. This restaurant was opened by Su Peng. Su Peng finally did not accept Yang Ming's suggestion to work with Li Dagang, because he felt that it was better to be stable with a wife and child. However, since there was a relationship with Yang Ming also asked Bao Sanli to take care of Su Peng. Although Su Peng did not work with Yang Ming, after all, they were once brothers. They cried, laughed, and went crazy together. Yang Ming still helped him open such a Western restaurant. The income was much more stable and generous than the previous billiard room. Yang Ming was also very pleased that his former brother had a good home. Everyone had their own aspirations. Yang Ming couldn't force him to do anything. It was enough as long as he did his best. Western restaurants generally had more guests at night. During the day, there were not many guests. Su Peng was calculating at the bar. When he looked up and saw Yang Ming coming in, he immediately put down the account book in his hand with some joy. He came out from the bar and greeted, Brother Yang, you are here. Although Su Peng asked Yang Ming to come here more often when he was free, Su Peng also knew that Yang Ming couldn't come here often. Yang Ming's identity had doomed him not to come here often. Although the Western restaurant's grade was not low. Big Peng, how are you recently? Yang Ming smiled and patted Su Peng's shoulder. The business is good. There are more than 100,000 left in a month. Su Peng didn't hide anything from Yang Ming. After all, everything was given to him by Yang Ming. Although the opening of the Western restaurant was paid by Su Peng himself, the social connections were all found by Yang Ming. After all, for a person like him who had no foundation, if he wanted to open a Western restaurant in the downtown area, without connections, he couldn't handle a lot of things. But with Bao Sanli's help, these things became much easier to handle. So far, no one came to find trouble with Su Peng. It's stable. Yang Ming was satisfied with this result. Yeah, we earned a lot more than before. Su Peng nodded happily. Brother Yang, is this your friend? My college classmate, Tian Donghua. Yang Ming introduced him to Su Peng. We are roommates, good buddies. Hello, I am Yang Ming's junior high school buddy, Su Peng. Su Peng reached out to Tian Donghua in a friendly manner. Nice to meet you. Tian Donghua was also a friendly person. He shook hands with Su Peng. Su Peng, find us a private room. We need to talk about something. As for the food, you can do as you see fit. Yang Ming said to Su Peng, I will catch up with you another day. No problem. Su Peng nodded and took Yang Ming and Tian Donghua to a very elegant private room upstairs. Brother Yang, I am going to ask the kitchen to prepare the food. It seems that I can't treat you to this meal. After Su Peng left, Tian Donghua made a small joke to ease the atmosphere. Chapter 12:25. Judging from the degree of familiarity between Su Peng and Yang Ming, the relationship between the two should be very solid. Then, Tian Donghua couldn't take out the money to treat him. There will be opportunities in the future. Yang Ming smiled. We were good friends in junior high school. If I give him money, he won't accept it. Instead, we will be estranged. Yang Ming, there are some things that I don't know how to tell you, but I have to say it. Tian Donghua closed the door. He looked solemn and said with a complicated expression. Old Tian, what's the matter with you? Why are you so mysterious all the way? Yang Ming was somewhat baffled by Tian Donghua's reaction. He had always been a bold and fearless character. What happened today? Although Tian Donghua's mood was unstable now, Yang Ming could use his special ability to explore his thoughts, but Yang Ming didn't do so. It didn't make sense to do so. Since Tian Donghua found him, he would definitely say it. It was better to wait for him to speak. Yang Ming, Wang Shui and I have already let you down once. Tian Donghua's face darkened. So, Tian Donghua, will never let you down a second time. You treat me as a brother, then I have to live up to my conscience. Yang Ming, my father is targeting you. What? Originally, Yang Ming listened to the first half of Tian Donghua's sentence, and he was still somewhat inexplicable. When he listened to the second half of the sentence, he was suddenly shocked. Old Tian, what are you talking about? You said that your father is targeting me? What do you mean? My father, this matter has to be explained from the beginning. Tian Donghua took out a bottle of beer from the wine cabinet behind him, opened it, and drank it in one breath. Yang Ming didn't speak, but he sat there quietly and watched Tian Donghua drink the beer. Tian Donghua's words made Yang Ming's heart tremble. Although he didn't understand why Tian Long would target him and what he was targeting, it was obvious that Tian Donghua wanted to betray his father and say such words. He had already done a lot of psychological struggle. After calming down his emotions, Tian Donghua began to talk to Yang Ming about what his father had done during this time. Yang Ming, our Tian family's position in Donghai, you should understand it, right? Yang Ming nodded, indicating that he knew. Tian Donghua saw that Yang Ming understood, so he continued to say, my father was unwilling to be under the Sun family. So, he bribed the management of the Sun family's company with the help of a mysterious boss behind the scenes. He bribed the Sun's family under house arrest. Yang Ming was shocked after hearing Tian Donghua's words. He stood up and stared at Tian Donghua. Is what you said true? Yeah. Tian Donghua was very confused at the moment. But with Yang Ming joining in, it was different. Yang Ming's public identity was a college student. There was nothing wrong with calling the police and saying that Tian Long kidnapped him, so Tian Long would not take the risk to touch Yang Ming again. "Thank you, old Tian." Yang Ming patted Tian Donghua's shoulder, but he was thinking about Tian Donghua's words. The shock that his words brought to Yang Ming was too great. Tian Long actually rebelled, put the Sun family's people under house arrest, and took over the Sun family's business in Donghai. This was what Yang Ming did not expect. This change came too quickly, and Yang Ming couldn't digest it. Why did so many changes happen when I went out of the country? Something happened at Ming Yang Entertainment. The two vice presidents, Lu Chan and Chu Daiming, ran away. On Donghai's side, the Sun family's right-hand man, the Tian family, also rebelled against the Sun family. Wait. Yang Ming suddenly had a flash of inspiration, and some bold guesses flashed through his mind. Is the matter of Lu Chan and Chu Daiming related to Tian Long? Since Tian Long wanted to mess with him, would he start with his own business? The most important thing was that Lu Chan and Chu Daiming escaped to Donghai, which could not help but explain some problems. However, this was also Yang Ming's general judgment. Whether there was a relationship between them was not known now. He could only ask when he caught the two in the future. Yang Ming did not expect that Tian Long could not hold back. In Yang Ming's plan, Sun Jia would be his woman sooner or later, and she would go to North Africa with him. The business in Donghai would also be left to Tian Donghua to manage. In this way, these businesses in Donghai would belong to the Tian family sooner or later. Tian Long actually rebelled at this time, which made Yang Ming feel a little embarrassed. Yang Ming wanted to leave the Sun family's business to Tian Long, but now, Tian Long's rebellion made this matter advance. However, in this way, Yang Ming really had no way to give the Sun family's business to him. Although the result was the same, it was just a little earlier, but Tian Long's approach was absolutely intolerable to Yang Ming. Looking at Tian Donghua, who was distressed, Yang Ming sighed. In any case, Tian Donghua was not wrong, and his approach also made Yang Ming appreciate it. When Tian Long intended to harm him, Tian Donghua stood up bravely. Although it was more of a hindrance, this friendship made Yang Ming grateful. If I touch Tian Long, then what about Tian Donghua? If I kill Tian Long, will my relationship with Tian Donghua still be the same as before? Yang Ming shook his head. The relationship between Tian Donghua and Tian Long was different from the relationship between Wang Shui and Wang Shifan. In the end, Wang Shifan was just a father in name to Wang Shui. In fact, he did not fulfill the responsibility of a father. Wang Shui's relationship with him was not deep. Even so, Wang Shui still did something unfavorable to him under the instigation of her brother, Wang Jitao. And Tian Donghua was very close to Tian Long. If I touch Tian Long, then, thinking about this, Yang Ming felt a headache. Seeing that Yang Ming's face was somewhat uncertain, Tian Donghua didn't know Yang Ming's thoughts. He thought that Yang Ming was angry, so he said, "Yang Ming, you can rest assured. In any case, we are brothers. I can only do so much. I will use all my strength to fight against my father." Yang Ming listened to Tian Donghua's words and was somewhat moved. Sometimes, it was really hard to choose between brotherly love and morality. It was easy to kill Tian Long, but how would I face Tian Donghua in the future? Thinking of this, Yang Ming decided to test Tian Donghua's thoughts first. "Old Tian, do you know what your father is doing? That is embezzling other people's property." Tian Donghua lowered his head. To be honest, he didn't agree with his father's approach, but his father kept saying that he was doing this for the Tian family, for Tian Donghua and Tian Dongguang. Besides, Tian Donghua really couldn't interfere with what Tian Long did. What he said was useless in front of Tian Long. Otherwise, it wouldn't cause Tian Long to promise him not to touch Yang Ming, but then go back on his words afterward. If it succeeds, then everything can be discussed. As Yang Ming said this, he paused and continued, but have you thought about what if it fails? Won't the Sun family fight back? And those who are related to the Sun family, will they turn a blind eye? At that time, your father won't just die, but he will die in an ugly way. Tian Donghua was shocked. It wasn't that he didn't think about this, but he didn't think about it. Now that Yang Ming mentioned it, Tian Donghua knew that this was not an alarmist talk, but it was really possible. Yang Ming was right. What did my father do? He took over someone's company and put their family under house arrest. If possible, would the other party spare him? My words are useless. He won't listen to me. Tian Donghua shook his head sadly. I also know that what he did was wrong, but I can't help it. Yang Ming knew that Tian Donghua was telling the truth. In Tian Long's view, Tian Donghua was just a child. How could Tian Long listen to Tian Donghua's advice? Moreover, in Tian Long's view, he did this for the good of the Tian family. If something happens to your father, what will you do? Yang Ming raised his head and looked at Tian Donghua. Tian Donghua was shocked by Yang Ming's sudden question, but Tian Donghua wasn't stupid. He immediately heard the hint in Yang Ming's words. Yang Ming, you. Tian Donghua didn't know what to say, but he could guess something faintly. Donghua, there are some things that I don't want to hide from you. Yang Ming sighed, organized his thoughts, and said, do you know why your father wants to catch me? Why? Tian Donghua was slightly stunned and looked at Yang Ming strangely. Listening to Yang Ming's tone, he seemed to have known the resentment between his father and him. Because Sun Jia is my girlfriend. Yang Ming said word by word. Yang Ming's words were like a clap of thunder. Tian Donghua was so shocked that he didn't recover for a long time. He opened his mouth and looked at Yang Ming incredulously. Yang Ming didn't say anything about the behind-the-scenes boss. Those were too vague. The reason that he was Sun Hongjuan's son-in-law was enough to explain Tian Long's abnormal behavior. It could also create a reason for him to make a move on Tian Long, Sun Jia. Is she your girlfriend? Tian Donghua looked at Yang Ming incredulously. Could it be that my father didn't make a move on you because of the behind-the-scenes boss, but because of your relationship with the Sun family? Yang Ming nodded and said, as long as he doesn't get rid of me, he can't completely control the Sun family. I will definitely avenge the Sun family, so your father wants to catch me, Yang Ming. Sun Jia is actually your girlfriend. This is too surprising. Tian Donghua widened his eyes. Why didn't I know before? How can I publicize this kind of thing? Yang Ming smiled bitterly. However, I'm telling the truth. You don't have to doubt it. In other words, the mysterious behind-the-scenes boss is just an excuse. In fact, there is no such thing at all. Tian Donghua asked quickly. I don't know if there is such a person. Yang Ming shook his head. However, he is definitely targeting me because of the Sun family. Yang Ming was a little apologetic. After all, he deceived Tian Donghua. However, this kind deception was much better than direct deception. With Yang Ming's character, he wouldn't let Tian Long go. He just found a reason that Tian Donghua could accept. Yang Ming, do you want to go against my father? Tian Donghua was slightly stunned. Some things must be done. Yang Ming nodded. I must save Sun Jia. But, you are not my father's opponent. Tian Donghua exclaimed, otherwise, I will talk to my father and ask him to let go of the Sun family. Donghua, I know that it is difficult for you to be caught in the middle. However, I don't want you to continue to participate in this matter. It is not good for you. Yang Ming shook his head. Tian Long is an ambitious person. If he can listen to your advice, he will not go back on his words. Once the enmity between me and him is formed, it is not so easy to resolve. Hearing that Yang Ming's address to his father changed from the initial Uncle Tian to the current Tian Long, Tian Donghua knew that Yang Ming was really determined to be an enemy of his father. In fact, Yang Ming was right. If his father listened to his advice, he could not go back on his words. His words were really insignificant in front of his father, and there was almost no substantive effect. Tian Donghua didn't want anything to happen to either Yang Ming or his father. Although it was his father's matter, after all, he was his father. On one hand, it was family, and on the other hand, it was friendship. Tian Donghua was silent. Yang Ming, no matter what, I will advise my father. I hope that he can rein in the situation. Tian Donghua took a deep breath and said, even if he doesn't listen to me, I will try my best to persuade him not to hurt you. Similarly, I also hope that, if my father really stands against you, I hope that you can resolve this matter peacefully if you can reconcile. Yang Ming looked at Tian Donghua, who was usually cheerful in front of him, and was a little surprised when he suddenly said these words. However, it was not uncommon to experience sudden growth after experiencing changes, so it could only be understood that Tian Donghua was sensible. I promise you. Yang Ming hesitated and said. Tian Donghua's attitude did not let Yang Ming be ruthless in the end. Tian Long's life could be saved, and he should be more grateful to Tian Donghua. If it weren't for Tian Donghua's attitude of not hesitating to fall out with Tian Long for friendship, Yang Ming would not be soft-hearted. In fact, Yang Ming also knew that the current Tian Donghua did not understand the true strength of Yang Ming. If he knew the true strength of Yang Ming, he would not be like this now. Tian Donghua was probably more worried about whether Tian Long would harm Yang Ming. From the perspective of overall strength, Tian Long's strength was naturally very strong. Yang Ming was just a student. How could he go against him? Tian Donghua didn't know that Yang Ming was an assassin, and he was also a world-class top assassin. Could the person who was targeted by Yang Ming still be alive? I will go back to Donghai in a while. No matter what, I will do my best to persuade my father. I hope he can listen to me, said Tian Donghua. Okay. Yang Ming nodded. If Tian Long could really turn over a new leaf and rein in the situation, Yang Ming might as well let him go this time and act as if nothing had happened. However, this was the last chance. It depended on whether Tian Long could grasp and cherish it. If Tian Long was still stubborn, then no one could help him. Chapter 12:26. Songjiang Industry University was one of the famous science and engineering universities in the country. The Computer Science Department of Songjiang Industry University was one of the members of many research groups. At the beginning of this year, the Dragon Code wireless protocol, which was led by the country, was developed by Songjiang Industry University. This was also one of the wireless transmission protocols independently developed by the country. Xiao Qing was the person in charge of this project. This was one of the reasons why Xiao Qing was so busy every day. Because the computer science department was understaffed, the department would recruit some graduate students as assistants every time there was a research and development project. Although graduate students were free labor, and the department would not give them a salary, the graduate students were still scrambling for it. Those who could be admitted as graduate students were generally those who were more motivated and loved learning. Those who were just idling around with the attitude of passing the test couldn't be admitted as graduate students. Therefore, in this way, being able to participate in the research and development of national key topics was a rare opportunity for personal ability training and future prospects. With the experience of participating in the research and development of national key topics, it was believed that this would be a very good qualification when looking for a job in the future. This was also the reason why many graduate students signed up when the recruitment notice came out. However, the number of participants was limited. After all, the research and development project was not a big class. It was impossible to get all the people inside. Zhou Jiejia looked at the latest announcement in the department. After seeing this news, she was suddenly ecstatic. As a veteran hacker, she had a very deep research on any kind of network protocol. However, that was just research. If one day, she could personally become a rule maker, what a proud honor it would be. Originally, Zhou Jiejia faced the computer science courses in the university with an attitude of not listening. After all, the courses in the university were really old. A lot of knowledge was no longer useful or even wrong. However, this did not mean that there was nothing to learn in the university. Sometimes, some of the extracurricular knowledge taught by the course teacher was still very bright. This time, it was definitely an unexpected opportunity. After Zhou Jiejia saw the notice, she quickly put down the things in her hands and rushed to the computer science faculty building to sign up. Although there were not as many graduate students in the computer science department as undergraduate students, even so, there were as many as 180 people. At this moment, in front of the computer science faculty building, it also presented a scene of a sea of people. The registration was handled by Li Buoyang, the president of the Computer Science Association of Songjiang Industry University. Although Li Buoyang was not a graduate student, because of his status in the society and his own knowledge, he was also admitted to the research team. The admission of the research team was very strict. Everyone had to fill in a form, write down what they were good at, what awards they had won, and what achievements they had achieved. After filling in the form, it was only a preliminary examination. Among these people, some of the people with potential would be selected and then interviewed. During the interview, it was naturally not as simple as just moving one's lips. The awards and achievements you have received during the preliminary review must be written out on the spot. Award winners will present their award certificates, while those with achievements will present their works. Zhou Jiejia squeezed through the crowd and squeezed to the front of the registration office. She said to Li Buoyang, who was distributing the registration form. Li Buoyang heard Zhou Jiejia's voice. It was like the sound of nature. In this computer science department where dinosaurs were everywhere, Li Buoyang had not seen a beauty for a long time. It was not easy to see a beauty at the beginning of school. She was in the computer science department and wanted to join the computer science club. As a result, there was no news. This made Li Buoyang regret that he did not get the contact information of the beauty. Now, hearing such a beautiful female voice, Li Buoyang subconsciously raised his head. As a result, he saw Zhou Jiejia, the girl he saw on the first day of school. He was overjoyed. What a coincidence. It's you. Zhou Jiejia was slightly stunned. She also recognized that the person in front of her was Li Buoyang, the president of the Computer Science Association. She smiled slightly and nodded to him politely. Yeah, what a coincidence. It turns out that you are responsible for the registration. Yeah, generally, this kind of activity is organized by the Computer Science Association. After all, the energy of the teachers in the department is limited, said Li Buoyang. However, anyone could see the pride in Li Buoyang's words. In fact, the Computer Science Association was responsible. This also indirectly proved that the authority of the Computer Science Association in the school could not be underestimated. Can you give me a form to sign up? I also want to participate in the research of the wireless network protocol. Although Zhou Jiejia was very clear about Li Buoyang's thoughts, she had to ask him for help at this moment, so she had to smile and say a few words to him. Of course. Oh, wait. You are not a graduate student. Li Buoyang just wanted to take out a form and hand it to Zhou Jiejia. He suddenly remembered that the object of this research was a graduate student, not an undergraduate student, so he quickly said, for this research, the department only recruits graduate students, not undergraduate students. Ah. I see. Zhou Jiejia listened to Li Buoyang's words and was disappointed. This was a good opportunity that she had been looking forward to for a long time. The real opportunity was in front of her, but because of her current academic qualifications, she could not participate. Seeing the beauty's disappointment, Li Buoyang suddenly felt pain in his heart. He thought about it and said, I am also an undergraduate student, but because I am the president of the Computer Science Association, I also participated in the research and development of this project. How about this? I will help you ask the computer science teacher to see if you can also participate in this research and development. Then, I will trouble you. Zhou Jiejia originally thought that there was no hope, but when she heard Li Buoyang's words, she was suddenly happy and quickly thanked him. In order to please Zhou Jiejia, Li Buoyang ignored the work in his hands. He put down the work in his hands and quickly ran to the computer science teacher building. Li Buoyang's Computer Science Association was usually led by the deputy director of the Computer Science Department, Sun Dimeo. Li Buoyang and Sun Dimeo were also familiar with each other. When he came to the door of the deputy director's office, Li Buoyang knocked on the door, and Sun Dimeo's voice came from inside. "Who is it? Please come in." Li Buoyang pushed open the door of the office and found that the director of the department, Xiao Qing, was also there. He quickly called out respectfully, "Director Xiao, Director Sun." "What's the matter?" Sun Dimeo put down the work in his hands and asked Li Buoyang. "Director Sun." When Li Buoyang saw that the director, Xiao Qing, was also there, he was a little embarrassed to speak. He was familiar with Sun Dimeo, but he was not very familiar with Xiao Qing. Xiao Qing was responsible for the overall work in the department, and she was the main person in charge of many scientific research projects, so some trivial matters in the department were managed by the deputy director. The Computer Science Association was a non-governmental organization for students. Xiao Qing naturally did not have much time to manage it, so it was also managed by Sun Dimeo. However, Xiao Qing still knew Li Buoyang. He was one of the more famous students in the department, and he had also won a national computer competition award. "If you have something to say, just say it. I am discussing the wireless project with Director Xiao." Sun Dimeo saw that Li Buoyang did not speak after coming in, so he was somewhat unhappy and scolded him. "Director Sun, this is the case. There is an undergraduate student who also wants to participate in our research group." As Li Buoyang said this, he carefully observed Sun Dimeo's reaction to see if he was angry before continuing. "An undergraduate student? There are undergraduate students who also want to participate." Sun Dimeo frowned and thought it was a little funny. Generally speaking, the school said that it was recruiting graduate students. Undergraduate students would not join in the fun. Moreover, the knowledge level of undergraduate students was limited. It was useless to participate. Therefore, even if there was a project recruitment over the years, no undergraduate students had signed up. "Yes, this undergraduate student is a computer enthusiast and a member of our Computer Science Association," Li Buoyang said quickly. Zhou Jiejia originally intended to join the Computer Science Association, but she did not report later. However, Li Buoyang was not lying. There are really undergraduate students who are interested in this? Which year is the student?" Xiao Qing was also interested and asked. "It's a freshman student." When Li Buoyang heard Xiao Qing's question, he quickly replied respectfully, "A very quiet girl named Zhou Jiejia." "What? A freshman?" Sun Dimeo listened to Li Buoyang's answer and was stunned. He frowned and said, "Could it be that she wants to join in the fun? This can't be done. This is a national key project. It is not a joke. Are you, kid, interested in her and want to use this opportunity to please her?" After Sun Dimeo said this, he suddenly remembered that Xiao Qing was also listening. His forehead suddenly had cold sweat. He was usually very familiar with Li Buoyang. It was normal to joke, but today, the head of the department was here. If he still made this kind of joke with a student, it was a bit too much. Li Buoyang was blushed by Sun Dimeo's words. He said embarrassedly, "How can it be, Director Sun? Look at what you said. I just saw that she was more concerned about our project, so I came to ask you. Besides, undergraduate students want to sign up for project research. This is something that has happened for many years. Okay, you can go back. I still have things to do." Sun Dimeo just made a mistake. He was afraid that Xiao Qing would have an opinion of him, so he quickly sent Li Buoyang away. "Then I am leaving, Director Sunday." Li Buoyang saw that there was no hope, so he left the office with his head down. However, when he left, he did not forget to say, "Goodbye, Director Xiao." Xiao Qing really didn't care much about Sun Dimeo's joke, but the name Zhou Jiejia was familiar. She seemed to have heard it somewhere, but she forgot. Recently, she was very busy. Xiao Qing's mind was also confused, so this thing just flashed by. She didn't take it seriously and put it aside for the time being. Li Buoyang's plan was ruined. He couldn't show his ability in front of the beauty, which made Li Buoyang very distressed. He was the president of the Computer Science Association. If he couldn't handle this kind of thing, how could Zhou Jiejia fall in love with him? He could only blame himself for going at the wrong time. Director Xiao Qing of the college was also in Deputy Director Sun Dimeo's office. Sun Dimeo probably wouldn't dare to make a decision. Maybe if it was another time, Deputy Director Sun would agree. Because Deputy Director Sun was still more understanding, he once cared about Li Buoyang's private life and asked if he had a girlfriend. When he learned that Li Buoyang didn't have a girlfriend, Deputy Director Sun also urged him to find one quickly. He couldn't delay his private life because of technology. But today, he obviously found the wrong opportunity. Seeing Li Buoyang's face, Zhou Jiejia's expectant eyes suddenly dimmed. It seemed that there was no hope. In fact, after Li Buoyang left, Zhou Jiejia probably guessed that her hope was not big when she saw the scene of a sea of graduate students signing up. Although Zhou Jiejia could proudly say that she was not inferior to the people present, the school would not care about this. The school looked at your academic qualifications. Zhou Jiejia was a freshman student. How could she participate in the research of graduate students? I'm sorry, beauty. I tried my best. Li Buoyang helplessly spread out his hands. The leaders in the department said that there is no precedent. So, thank you too. Although Zhou Jiejia knew that Li Buoyang's purpose seemed to be impure, he did help her. Zhou Jiejia couldn't not express it. At least Li Buoyang didn't say that he wanted to pursue her face to face, so Zhou Jiejia pretended not to know. I have a good relationship with Deputy Director Sun in the department, but today, Director Xiao Qing arranged work in Deputy Director Sun's office, so it may be because of this reason that Deputy Director Sun rejected me. Li Buoyang defended himself. He didn't want to lose face in front of the beauty, so he pushed the responsibility away. Director Xiao Qing. Our department's director is called Xiao Qing. Zhou Jiejia heard Li Buoyang's words and suddenly asked. Yeah, our department has only one director, Xiao. Who else could it be? Li Buoyang smiled. Director Xiao is young, but her knowledge is not simple. She is involved in many key topics in China. She is a strong woman. Her scholarship is also very rigorous. When students went to university, they were not as familiar with the names of the school's directors and principals as they were when they were in junior high school or high school. Because the university was too big, these high-level leaders had little interaction with them. The most they usually dealt with were the tutors and lecturers. It was not surprising that Zhou Jiejia didn't know the name of the department's director, especially a freshman like her, so Li Buoyang was not surprised. The reason why Li Buoyang said that Xiao Qing was very powerful was to prove that Xiao Qing was a master in academia. In this way, the selection of assistants could be stricter. Zhou Jiejia couldn't blame herself if she wasn't chosen. So that's the case. Zhou Jiejia nodded thoughtfully. She remembered that Yang Ming's god-sister seemed to be called Xiao Qing. Zhou Jiejia also faintly heard Yang Ming mention it. She wasn't sure if it was the case. It seemed that the beautiful woman she saw when they went out to eat last time was Xiao Qing. It was just that it was unknown whether this Xiao Qing and the department's director, Xiao Qing, were the same person. Zhou Jiejia planned to ask Yang Ming when she went back. It doesn't matter. The wireless project is now only in the initial stage of collecting data. The research has not officially started yet. It will take a while before it can start, so there is still a chance. Wait for me to find a private time and talk to Deputy Director Sunday. Maybe it will work. Really? Then I will trouble you to help me ask about this from time to time. Zhou Jiejia wasn't sure if Yang Ming's godsister was the department's director, so she could only pin her hopes on Li Buoyang. Don't worry. Leave it to me. Right, what's your phone number? I will call you when I have news. Li Buoyang wanted to establish a long-term contact with Zhou Jiejia, so he beat around the bush to get Zhou Jiejia's phone number. Zhou Jiejia hesitated a little and told Li Buoyang the phone number. Originally, the phone number was something public, so it couldn't be considered private. It was fine to tell Li Buoyang. After getting Zhou Jiejia's phone number, Li Buoyang was ecstatic, but he was afraid that Zhou Jiejia would see and hate him. On the surface, Li Buoyang still pretended to be calm and put away Zhou Jiejia's phone number. Zhou Jiejia didn't say much to Li Buoyang. Since she couldn't sign up, Zhou Jiejia could only leave. She didn't have the leisure to chat with Li Buoyang. Yesterday, Yang Ming came back. Zhou Jiejia was now full of thoughts on the scene of meeting with Yang Ming at night. Her father had returned to Donghai safely. Although he hadn't met her yet, he had called her. It was said that he was going to do some business with her mother in Donghai. Her father could come back safely. All of this was thanks to Yang Ming. Zhou Jiejia still didn't know how to thank him. However, when she was usually chatting with Chen Mengyan and Lin Jiyun, Chen Mengyan once jokingly suggested that Zhou Jiejia should repay Yang Ming's kindness of saving her father with her body. If this was in ancient times, it would be a good story. It made Zhou Jiejia blush, but in her heart, she also agreed with Chen Mengyan's words. It was just that she was a girl, so she didn't dare to say some words. Sometimes, Zhou Jiejia felt that she was a little funny. She actually became timid. Thinking back, when she pursued Yang Ming, she was so bold. She even dared to send such a hot text message. Now, she blushed when she talked to Yang Ming. Perhaps, only now did Zhou Jiejia restore the girl's original reserved nature. A phone rang. Zhou Jiejia glanced at the caller ID. It was Chen Mengyan, so she picked up the phone. Sister Mengyan, where are you? It was just noon now. At this time, Chen Mengyan called Zhou Jiejia. Basically, it was to ask her to eat together at noon. Jiejia, Jiyun and I are in the cafeteria. Where are you? Didn't we agree to meet here? Asked Chen Mengyan. Zhou Jiejia looked at the time on her watch and found that it was already 11:30. Unknowingly, it took a lot of time to sign up at the computer science teacher building, so Chen Mengyan and the others were anxious. Chapter 12:27. In fact, the reason why Chen Mengyan was anxious was that she wanted to ask Zhou Jiejia about Yang Ming's situation. Yang Ming and Zhou Jiejia were in the same class. If Yang Ming came to school, Zhou Jiejia would see Yang Ming first. For the whole morning, there was no news about Yang Ming. Chen Mengyan and Lin Jiyun were naturally anxious. Seeing Zhou Jiejia enter the cafeteria, they quickly waved to her. Jiejia, here. Zhou Jiejia also saw Chen Mengyan and Lin Jiyun. She smiled and walked over quickly. However, because it was noon, there were more people in the cafeteria. Zhou Jiejia walked 2 steps and accidentally bumped into a classmate. Unfortunately, this classmate was holding a plate of fried noodles in her hand. Her hand shook, and the fried noodles fell to the ground, splashing onto Zhou Jiejia's pants. However, because she bumped into others, Zhou Jiejia naturally wouldn't blame others. She looked at the girl in front of her apologetically and said embarrassedly, "I'm sorry. I bumped into you. Can I buy you a new bowl?" The girl didn't snort. She was about to attack, but she suddenly saw that the person in front of her was Zhou Jiejia, so she immediately recovered her smile. "It's okay. I can buy it myself." Jing Xiaolu's shoes were bought with Yang Ming when they went shopping. Jing Xiaolu naturally cherished them. Although the fried noodles didn't get on her clothes and pants, some of it splashed on her shoes, which made Jing Xiaolu feel distressed. Anyone would be angry if they were in this situation. However, when Jing Xiaolu saw that it was Zhou Jiejia, her anger disappeared. Jing Xiaolu still knew about Zhou Jejia. Of course, it was all from Gu Ximiao's mouth. Therefore, Jing Xiaolu knew that there was a deep relationship between Zhou Jejia and Yang Ming. It was even possible that she was one of Yang Ming's girlfriends. When Jing Xiaolu saw Chen Mengyan and Lin Jiyun not far from Zhou Jejia, she was even more convinced of this point. These three people ran to eat together at noon. It couldn't help but explain some problems. How can that be? Let me buy it for you. Zhou Jejia thought that the other party would also blame her. After all, it was her fault. Moreover, she had dirted the other party's shoes. Although it wasn't to the extent of a fight, there would definitely be a few complaints. He just didn't expect her to be so peaceful. She didn't even need him to buy a new bowl of noodles for her. Jing Xiaolu was just being polite. Seeing that Zhou Jejia insisted, she nodded and agreed. If she could build a relationship with Zhou Jejia, she could integrate into the small circle of Yang Ming's harem. Jing Xiaolu calculated with her own thoughts. Then let's go together. Chen Mengyan was also afraid that Zhou Jejia would suffer, so she also ran to Zhou Jejia's side. However, seeing that Zhou Jejia was very understanding, she was relieved. Jing Xiaolu had completely changed her dressing from the original non-mainstream to the current youthful student outfit. Chen Mengyan really didn't recognize that she was the previous Jing Xiaolu. Mengyan, I am going to accompany this classmate to buy fried noodles. Wait for me. Zhou Jejia smiled at Chen Mengyan and explained. Chen Mengyan also witnessed the whole process of the incident before, so she nodded happily at the moment. Jing Xiaolu and Zhou Jejia walked to the canteen's vending window together. Jing Xiaolu smiled and said, I don't plan to buy fried noodles. I just regretted it when I bought fried noodles. I was worried about what to do, but you knocked it down. Hee, this time I plan to buy a rice dish. Zhou Jejia didn't know whether what Jing Xiaolu said was true or not, but she felt that Jing Xiaolu's character was very good. She was very approachable. She couldn't help but have a good impression of her. It seems that I have inadvertently done a good thing? Yeah. Jing Xiaolu nodded seriously. Right, my name is Jing Xiaolu. I am from the art department. Zhou Jejia, computer science. Zhou Jejia also quickly introduced herself. You are from the art department? Are you studying acting? No, I am studying art, but it is also related to computer science. Many of our courses are using computers to make animations. Jing Xiaolu smiled and said, I was worried about not knowing computer science students. My computer often has problems, and I don't know how to solve them. This is great. If there is a problem in the future, I will ask you. You can't refuse. Of course, there is no problem. Zhou Jejia readily agreed. Jing Xiaolu's request was very ordinary. The two were now acquainted. Zhou Jejia was also very happy to make friends with Jing Xiaolu. Jing Xiaolu really didn't know much about the computer's installation system and antivirus, so it couldn't be considered as lying to Zhou Jejia. Although she wanted to deliberately get close to Zhou Jejia, she didn't want to lie to her. After all, if she lied now and was exposed in the future, it would be bad for her. The two came to the window selling rice dish together. Jing Xiaolu ordered a beef and persimmon rice dish. Zhou Jejia saw that the color was good, so she also ordered one. Chen Mengyan and Lin Jiyun had already ordered, so she didn't need to care about them. When it was time to pay, Zhou Jejia rushed to swipe her card, and Jing Xiaolu didn't argue too much. Why are there so many people today? It seems that it is not easy to find a seat. Jing Xiaolu looked at the people in the cafeteria and pretended to be emotional. Eat with us. My friend is over there. Zhou Jejia pointed to Chen Mengyan and said. Jing Xiaolu originally wanted to eat with Zhou Jejia, Chen Mengyan, and Lin Jiyun. She just wanted Zhou Jejia to invite her. Now that Zhou Jejia sent an invitation, Jing Xiaolu gladly agreed. The two returned to the table with the newly bought rice dish. Jing Xiaolu saw Lin Jiyun and pretended to be surprised. Lin Jiyun, you are here too? Lin Jiyun naturally knew Jing Xiaolu. Jing Xiaolu and her roommate, Gu Xinyao, were good sisters. Jing Xiaolu often went to play with Gu Xinyao. So, she was also very familiar with Lin Jiyun. Because of Gu Xinyao's presence, Jing Xiaolu couldn't be too close to Lin Jiyun. It was obvious that some of her intentions and motives were impure. If Gu Xinyao saw it, she would definitely scold her. So, although Jing Xiaolu and Lin Jiyun were very familiar, they never went out to play or eat together. Jing Xiaolu, what a coincidence. Lin Jiyun smiled sweetly. Lin Jiyun was a very easygoing person. She also saw Jing Xiaolu's recent changes. She didn't reject Jing Xiaolu as much as before. She just saw the dispute between Jing Xiaolu and Zhou Jiejia. She wanted to persuade them, but Chen Mengyan ran ahead of her. Lin Jiyun couldn't leave because she wanted to occupy the table, so she had to watch from here. But seeing Jing Xiaolu's attitude toward Zhou Jiejia, Lin Jiyun still agreed. She felt that Jing Xiaolu really learned well and wasn't as capricious as before. Jing Xiaolu? Chen Mengyan was slightly stunned. This name is so familiar. After taking a closer look, she finally recognized it. The person in front of her was the non-mainstream girl who made a scene when she was eating with Yang Ming in the cafeteria not long after she went to university. Later, she was splashed with porridge by Yang Ming. Chen Mengyan was really surprised by the huge change in the two of them. If she didn't hear this name, Chen Mengyan would never connect the two together. You, our sister Chen Mengyan? Jing Xiaolu was well-behaved and modest to Chen Mengyan. You recognized me? Chen Mengyan also confirmed at the moment that the person in front of her was the former non-mainstream girl. However, Chen Mengyan didn't think that Jing Xiaolu's politeness to Zhou Jiejia was because she saw her. From Jing Xiaolu's dressing, Chen Mengyan had already seen the change. The original Jing Xiaolu was no different from a delinquent girl in the society. Now, Jing Xiaolu was more like a lively student. Yeah, I'm really sorry about the last time. Jing Xiaolu tidied up her hair and said, I was not sensible before. Now I have grown up. When she heard Jing Xiaolu say that she was not sensible before, and now she had grown up, Chen Mengyan couldn't help but smile. Now it seemed that Jing Xiaolu was still quite cute. At least, Chen Mengyan's impression of her had improved a lot. You can still remember me, hee. Since Jing Xiaolu said so, Chen Mengyan couldn't be bothered about the past. She said with relief, let's forget about the past. The most important thing is that you can change those bad habits. Thank you, Sister Mengyan. Jing Xiaolu said quickly. Why do you call me sister? Chen Mengyan was a bit baffled by Jing Xiaolu's address. I studied for a year in the morning, so I am younger than you. Jing Xiaolu quickly explained, moreover, I was in trouble last time. Thank you, Brother Yang Ming, for saving me. Otherwise, I really didn't know what to do. Now I am working in a company that Brother Yang Ming introduced to me. It's like this. Chen Mengyan really didn't know that Jing Xiaolu had met Yang Ming later. Yang Ming also helped her, but Chen Mengyan was still a bit awkward and an outsider called her Sister Mengyan. Although Lin Jiyun also called her that at home, it was a name in the boudoir. When they were at school, they still called each other by their names. Now that Jing Xiaolu called her that, Chen Mengyan thought of the things at home, so she said, call me by my name in the future. Don't call me sister. We are all classmates. It sounds a bit awkward. Well, I will call you Mengyan. Is that okay? Jing Xiaolu actually knew that Lin Jiyun called Chen Mengyan as Sister Mengyan privately because when Lin Jiyun called Chen Mengyan in the dormitory, Jing Xiaolu paid attention. However, now that Chen Mengyan didn't let her call her that, Jing Xiaolu could also understand the reason. Lin Jiyun called Chen Mengyan as Sister Mengyan because Lin Jiyun and Chen Mengyan were both Yang Ming's women. This kind of address was very secretive when they were together. Jing Xiaolu was now just an outsider. Calling Chen Mengyan like this would naturally make Chen Mengyan feel awkward. Of course, you can. Chen Mengyan gladly agreed. Jing Xiaolu originally deliberately came to get close to Chen Mengyan, Zhou Jiejia, and Lin Jian. Jing Xiaolu naturally followed their topic. A few months of white-collar life in the company made Jing Xiaolu mature a lot and understand a lot of communication means between people. Therefore, under Jing Xiaolu's deliberate management, Chen Mengyan and the other two also accepted Jing Xiaolu as a friend. However, Jing Xiaolu was very clear in her heart that Chen Mengyan, Zhou Jiejia, and Lin Jian only regarded her as an ordinary friend. It was absolutely impossible to integrate into their circle. Unless Yang Ming pushed her down on the bed, it was possible to achieve it. Therefore, after exchanging everyone's phone numbers, Jing Xiaolu decided to contact them more in private when she was free. Jing Xiaolu didn't expect to integrate into their circle at once. She just wanted to leave a good impression on them. Now, Jing Xiaolu also let go of her previous impetuous heart. She carefully paid attention. The women that Yang Ming liked, although they were definitely beautiful, each of them had their own characteristics, and each of them had their own strengths. Jing Xiaolu wanted to have a place in Yang Ming's heart, so she could only work on herself. Originally, her previous image of a non-mainstream delinquent girl gave Yang Ming a bad impression, so Jing Xiaolu worked hard to change her image while constantly enriching herself. It was true that she was a little smart. Jing Xiaolu could pat her chest and say that she could definitely give Yang Ming some ideas. However, this kind of incompetent advisor didn't seem to be very glorious, so after Jing Xiaolu entered the company, she began to work hard to learn the knowledge of management and public relations. After she had a certain ability, she wasn't afraid that Yang Ming wouldn't pay attention to her. Zhao Ying and Wang Xiaoyan also met in the school's cafeteria. Yan Yan. Chen Mengyan is over there. Zhao Ying saw Chen Mengyan, Zhou Jiejia, Lin Jian, and an unknown girl not far away. However, Zhao Ying didn't know if she should go over and say hello. If it was just Chen Mengyan alone, Zhao Ying didn't mind going over. But now, Lin Jian and Zhou Jiejia, the other two women of Yang Ming, were also there. Zhao Ying didn't know when it was appropriate for her to go over. I saw them. Wang Xiaoyan actually noticed Chen Mengyan and others long ago. With her eyesight, she saw the three people as soon as she entered the cafeteria. Then, should we go over and say hello? Zhao Ying was a little scared. When she saw Chen Mengyan, she was a little nervous and felt sorry for her. However, at this time, if they met in the cafeteria, it didn't seem good if she didn't say hello. So, Zhao Ying planned to stand up and go over to say hello to Chen Mengyan. Sister Ying. Chen Mengyan is your student. Why should you go over and say hello to her? Wang Xiaoyan pulled Zhao Ying's hand and stopped her action. If you want to say hello, she should be the one to say hello to you. Sister Ying, don't put the cart before the horse. But, she is Yang Ming's. Zhao Ying spoke halfway and didn't continue. However, the meaning of the words was already very clear. That was, Chen Mengyan was Yang Ming's official girlfriend, which was the so-called first wife. She believed that Wang Xiaoyan could also understand. So what? Wang Xiaoyan snorted and said with some disdain, you know, the person that Yang Ming liked first was you. If you weren't so wishy-washy, Chen Mengyan wouldn't be here now. You can't say that. Yang Ming liked Chen Mengyan first. Zhao Ying knew that Wang Xiaoyan's character was like this, so she didn't care. So what? Anyway, Yang Ming confessed to you first. Wang Xiaoyan said, Sister Ying, I think you are Yang Ming's first wife. Anyway, I support you. That's not good. Zhao Ying was a little embarrassed by Wang Xiaoyan's words. She wasn't a competitive person, but when she thought of Chen Mengyan calling her a vixen, Zhao Ying's heart was a little timid. What's not good? Wang Xiaoyan disagreed. Anyway, I don't like Chen Mengyan's behavior. After listening to Wang Xiaoyan's words, Zhao Ying could only smile helplessly. However, when Chen Mengyan was about to leave after eating, she saw Zhao Ying and Wang Xiaoyan. For Wang Xiaoyan, this neighbor, Chen Mengyan had seen her a few times. Although they didn't talk much, they were familiar with each other. In Chen Mengyan's impression, she had always regarded Wang Xiaoyan as her junior high desk mate who pursued her. Therefore, she never thought that Wang Xiaoyan would have a relationship with Yang Ming. Sister Ying, Wang Xiaoyan, you are here too. After Chen Mengyan and Zhao Ying resolved the misunderstanding, the relationship between the two also restored the previous sisterly relationship, so Chen Mengyan was very enthusiastic. Mengyan, have you finished eating? Zhao Ying also smiled and nodded. Let's sit down and eat together. Although Zhao Ying knew that Chen Mengyan had finished eating, she could only pretend that she didn't know at the moment. Otherwise, if Chen Mengyan asked why she didn't go over to say hello, Zhao Ying wouldn't be able to explain. We have finished eating. You can eat. Chen Mengyan said, Sister Ying, then I will go first. I still have class in the afternoon. And, see you later. Zhao Ying smiled and waved her hand. After Chen Mengyan left, Zhao Ying sighed subconsciously. Wang Xiaoyan shook her head. Sister Ying, why are you so cowardly? AI, if you are so overcautious, when can you get happiness? Yan, you don't understand. The relationship between you and Chen Mengyan isn't like the relationship between me and her. Zhao Ying shook her head. I used to be her teacher, and I was also Yang Ming's teacher. You said that I snatched a man from my student. This is so bad. You. Wang Xiaoyan really didn't know what to say to Zhao Ying. She pointed at Zhao Ying and was angry for a long time. Then, she said, forget it. I don't care about you. I can't do anything about it. You always have various reasons. Yan, I know that you are also good for me. Zhao Ying saw that Wang Xiaoyan really thought for her. However, Wang Xiaoyan's character was different from her own style. Zhao Ying couldn't ignore Chen Mengyan's thoughts. But my situation is really complicated. These things can only be left to fate. Since you have said so, then I have nothing to say. Wang Xiaoyan said helplessly, but you have to work hard yourself. Zhao Ying's face had a little blush, and she nodded. Tian Donghua left in a hurry before he finished eating. When Su Peng came to the private room with the waiter who served the dishes, he was surprised when he saw that only Yang Ming was left. Chapter 12:28. Bring up Zhou Jiejia's file. Let me have a look. After Li Buoyang left, the name Zhou Jiejia was hovering in Xiao Qing's mind. She felt more and more familiar as if she had heard it before. However, she had been busy these days. Xiao Qing couldn't remember where she had heard this name, but she was not relieved. She always felt that this name seemed to represent something, so she asked Sun Dimeo to bring up Zhou Jiejia's student file. The computer science department naturally had the right to access all the student files in the computer science department, but it could only be the computer science department. Xiao Qing naturally had no right to access students from other departments. Oh. Sun Dimeo was slightly stunned. He was surprised that Xiao Qing would suddenly pay attention to a student. Just now, when Li Buoyang came to recommend Zhou Jiejia to participate in the research and development project, Sun Dimeo was still very angry with Li Buoyang's insensitivity. He mentioned this in front of the department's director. If Sun Dimeo were to cheat and be seen by Xiao Qing, it would be bad. If Sun Dimeo found him privately, maybe Sun Dimeo could help Li Buoyang. However, Sun Dimeo didn't expect that Xiao Qing would ask him to bring up this student's file. However, since Xiao Qing requested it, Sun Dimeo was naturally duty-bound. He quickly logged into the university's internet database, entered his username and password, and entered the student archive. It was easy to search for the freshman Zhou Jiejia's information file. Director Xiao, this is Zhou Jiejia's student file. Sun Dimeo pointed to the student file on the computer screen in front of him. Zhou Jiejia's photo was very cute. There were 2 small dimples on her sweet smiling face. Sun Dimeo praised in his heart. She is really a beautiful little girl. No wonder Li Buoyang is so attentive. It seems that Li Buoyang wants to find her to be his girlfriend. If there is a chance, I have to help Li Buoyang matchmake. A student in the first-year class. Xiao Qing was slightly stunned. Isn't this Yang Ming's opposite class? In fact, the opposite class in the university was the same as the same class. There was no difference. The classes and extracurricular activities were all carried out together. Even the teachers were a set of people. They were usually in the same classroom, and there was no exception even during exams. Looking at Zhou Jiejia's appearance, Xiao Qing was even more convinced. She finally remembered who this Zhou Jiejia was. Last time, when she met Yang Ming at the restaurant with Sun Jia, Zhou Jiejia was among them. Xiao Qing also learned about Zhou Jiejia's story from Yang Ming. This was a girl who was willing to risk her life for her lover. She could even sacrifice herself to block the bullet for Yang Ming. This made Xiao Qing feel grateful and admired her from the bottom of her heart. It's her. However, this Zhou Jiejia is actually interested in wireless technology. This is a very novel thing. If Zhou Jiejia was really interested in this aspect, it would be a good opportunity. Although Xiao Qing was Yang Ming's god-sister, she didn't expect to be able to walk together with Yang Ming openly one day. However, she still somewhat hoped that her identity would be recognized, even if it was just a small recognition. Aizas that if Zhou Jiejia was really interested in computer technology, she believed that with her knowledge, she would definitely get Zhou Jiejia's recognition quickly. If there was such a day, she could integrate into Yang Ming's small circle. Then, Zhou Jiejia would definitely support her. Xiao Qing had never thought about having a harem war or seizing power. It was her greatest wish to get a small recognition among Yang Ming's women. So when she thought of this, Xiao Qing said to Sun Dimeo, "This Zhou Jiejia, how is her professional course results?" Sun Dimeo quickly opened Zhou Jiejia's transcript and found that Zhou Jiejia's professional course results in the previous semester were actually excellent. This made Sun Dimeo very surprised. As a matter of fact, the university was a place where one could get a score of 600. Especially for freshmen who had just experienced the torment of the college entrance examination, it was the semester that they were most unwilling to study. It was rare for a girl like Zhou Jiejia to get such an impressive result in her professional course. Especially in the compilation class, she actually got a high score of 150 points. This made Xiao Qing a little surprised. Although there weren't many students who got 100 points, there were still a few. However, it wasn't surprising. After all, most of the things on the paper were from the books. As long as one listened to the class and read the books carefully, they would get good results. Including the programming questions at the back of the paper, they were all examples of programs that had ready-made answers in the books. As long as one memorized them, they could pass smoothly. However, to get 150 points, it meant that the experimental class results also got a perfect score of 50 points. Generally, the school's programming exam would have experimental questions. The students were required to write a program designed by themselves. This kind of question didn't have a standard answer. It was entirely up to the students to create. As long as the written program could be successfully debugged, it was considered correct. Such additional questions were actually opened for those students who had real talent and weren't willing to memorize by rote. Some smarter students learned programming very well, but they weren't willing to memorize some conceptual things. In this way, as long as the program was written correctly, the score on the paper only needed to be 10 points, and the total score would be enough to pass. This kind of exam was more humane. But generally, no one would do this kind of question. After all, assembly was a very difficult programming language to learn. It was much more difficult to understand than C language. Especially this time, the question was more unusual. The students were asked to design a program to copy and read the entire floppy disk under DOS. Most students gave up on the experimental question. After all, for this kind of program, not only did you have to provide the compiled program, but you also had to provide the complete program code. The teacher who reviewed it was also stricter. If it was plagiarized, it would be seen directly. Not only did Zhou Jiejia write such a program, but the program also supported copying of special tracks and weak sectors while supporting copying of ordinary disks. In other words, Zhou Jiejia's program could copy some software so-called key disk. For example, many antivirus software in the early days used the encryption method of the floppy disk key disk. Although later, when the encryption and decryption technology developed to its peak, the floppy disk encryption had been abandoned by many manufacturers. The floppy disk encryption technology was no longer the top technology and was publicized. However, Zhou Jiejia, a freshman student, could actually write such a comprehensive program, which really surprised Xiaoqing. Sun Dimeo, who was on the side, was also shocked. He slammed the table and said, "Is this student a genius?" Originally, Sun Dimeo thought that Li Buoyang wanted to pick up girls, so he pulled Zhou Jiejia to participate in the research and development project. Now it seemed that this Zhou Jiejia was indeed a real talent. "Director Xiao, it seems that this Zhou Jiejia is the same as you. She is also a female hero in our computing world." Sun Dimeo praised Zhou Jiejia and flattered Xiaoqing without leaving any trace. Xiaoqing didn't have time to listen to his flattery. Xiaoqing originally just wanted to bring Zhou Jiejia to participate in the research project to deepen their relationship. But now, Xiaoqing changed her original intention. She really wanted Zhou Jiejia to participate in the research and development project together. This kind of student with the spirit of research was a very rare talent. Her future achievements would definitely not be underestimated. Thinking of this, Xiaoqing said, "Let this student also participate in our research project." "I think so, too." Sun Dimeo's idea was the same as Xiaoqing's. He also wanted to go through the back door to help Li Buoyang. Now it seemed that this Zhou Jiejia was really a talent. It was a pity that she didn't participate in the research project. "So, you find Li Buoyang and inform him. Let him report directly to the computer science faculty building. He doesn't even have to participate in the interview." Xiaoqing said until here. She paused and thought about it. "Forget it. I will inform him personally." "Okay." Sun Dimeo nodded. Sun Dimeo wanted to give Li Buoyang face and let him know that he was working hard here. So, Li Buoyang would work harder for him in the future. However, if Xiaoqing wanted to inform him personally, this opportunity would be gone. However, Sun Dimeo thought about it again. Xiaoqing informing Zhou Jiejia wouldn't delay him from informing Li Buoyang. Anyway, it was a foregone conclusion that Zhou Jiejia would participate in the research project. Wasn't it the same who informed her? Thinking of this, Sun Dimeo decided to call Li Buoyang in a while and tell him the good news. Xiaoqing left Sun Dimeo's office and returned to her own office. Sun Dimeo picked up the phone and dialed Li Buoyang. Li Buoyang had just finished the graduate student registration. He was so tired that he was sweating. He glanced at the time. It was almost 1 o'clock. He quickly ran to the cafeteria. If he was late, there would be no food. Suddenly, the phone rang. Li Buoyang took out the phone and glanced at it. He found that it was Deputy Director Sun in the department. He quickly picked up the phone. "Deputy Director Sunday, Li Buoyang, where are you?" Sun Dimeo asked with a smile. "I am going to the cafeteria to eat." Li Buoyang didn't know why Sun Dimeo called him at this time, but his intuition told him that it was probably related to his reckless behavior in his office before. "Li Buoyang, you are not young anymore. Why are you still so impatient?" Before Sun Dimeo said this, he naturally had to teach Li Buoyang a lesson. If today's incident was not accidental, this Zhou Jiejie would not be able to participate in the research project. I'm sorry, Deputy Director Sun. Li Buoyang listened. It was really about his incident today. He quickly apologized. I have caused you trouble. I didn't know that Director Xiao would be in your office at that time. Okay, it's good that you know. Sun Dimeo sighed. Director Xiao and I are researching. You should find a chance to talk to me privately about this matter. I know, Deputy Director Sunday. I won't do it next time. Li Buoyang said quickly. Li Buoyang, tell me privately. Did you pat your chest and make a promise to the female classmate? Do you have that kind of feeling for her? Asked Sun Dimeo. How could it be? Li Buoyang was exposed, and he was embarrassed. Director Sun, Zhou Jiejie is indeed a computer enthusiast, and her skills are excellent, I know this. I have seen Zhou Jiejie's exam results last semester. They are all excellent. Sun Dimeo said, let me tell you. Director Xiao has agreed to let Zhou Jiejie participate in the research of the wireless protocol. Really? Li Buoyang thought that there was no hope. At this moment, when he heard Sun Dimeo, he was overjoyed. Director Sun, thank you so much. Hee. Okay, you don't have to thank me. Don't be impatient in doing things in the future. Sun Dimeo was proud. It was so easy to buy people's hearts. Li Buoyang would definitely be more obedient in the future. I won't. You can rest assured, Director. Li Buoyang promised. Okay, you go and eat. I have other things to do. Sun Dimeo said, you tell Zhou Jiejie to come to the computer science faculty building and report directly. She doesn't have to participate in the interview. She was admitted as an exception. Well, I will inform Zhou Jiejie now. Li Buoyang said happily. After hanging up the phone, Li Buoyang dialed Zhou Jiejie's phone number ecstatically. In this way, he could brag about his credit in front of Zhou Jiejie. He believed that Zhou Jiejie would definitely admire him. However, at the same time, Xiao Qing was talking to Zhou Jiejie, so Li Buoyang dialed a few times, but it didn't go through. Zhou Jiejie was still on the phone, so Li Buoyang had to give up. He planned to call again later and finish eating first. Zhou Jiejie's phone number was written in the computer science faculty's contact list. Xiao Qing didn't spend much effort to find Zhou Jiejie's number and dialed Zhou Jiejie directly. Zhou Jiejie had just finished eating. She was walking on the playground with Chen Mengyan, Lin Jiyun, and Jing Xiaolu. Zhou Jiejie's phone rang. She took it out and found that it was an unfamiliar number. Zhou Jiejie was a bit puzzled, but she still picked up the phone. Hello? Is this Zhou Jiejie? Xiao Qing asked. She had to confirm Zhou Jiejie's identity first. After all, the contact list was made during the freshman year. After such a long time, many students had changed their mobile phone numbers. Yes, you are? Zhou Jiejie asked, baffled. The other party was a woman with a pleasant voice, but Zhou Jiejie didn't remember knowing such a person. I am Xiao Qing, the director of the computer science faculty. Xiao Qing said calmly. Ah. Director Xiao, hello. Zhou Jiejie was subconsciously shocked. She didn't expect the director of the computer science faculty to call her personally. This made Zhou Jiejie somewhat flattered. I heard that you want to participate in our wireless protocol research project. Is that so? Asked Xiao Qing. Yes, yes. Zhou Jiejie quickly replied, Director Xiao, do I have a chance to participate? Zhou Jiejie, when she heard Xiao Qing's call personally, had a hunch, so she was very excited at the moment. I saw your exam results last semester and saw the disk copy program you wrote using Hui. It was very good, so I decided to let you participate in our wireless protocol research project, said Xiao Qing. Thank you, Director Xiao. This kind of twists and turns and the feeling of seeing the light at the end of the tunnel made Zhou Jiejie very happy. I will cherish this opportunity with all my heart. In the afternoon, come to the computer science faculty building and report to my office, said Xiaoqing. My office is on the 3rd floor. If you can't find me, you can also call this phone number. This is my cell phone number. Okay, I will be there in a while. Zhou Jejia was really happy. She could finally participate in the customization of the network protocol. This was a very rare opportunity. Jejia, what's wrong with you? Why are you so excited after receiving a phone call? Chen Mengyan looked at Zhou Jejia curiously and asked. Mengyan, it's Director Xiao of our department. She just called me to inform me that she wants me to participate in a research project. This is a very rare opportunity. Of course, I am happy. Zhou Jejia said excitedly. Previously, I went to sign up in the morning, but the person who received me said that this research project only recruited graduate students or doctoral students, not undergraduate students. Later, the person who received me asked the department for my opinion and said that it was not possible. I thought that there was no hope, but just now, our department director called me personally. It really surprised me. Oh. So that's the case. Chen Mengyan nodded. She also knew that Zhou Jejia was particularly interested in computer-related things, so she said, then, congratulations to you. And I will report to her office in a while. Zhou Jejia nodded. Right, you just said Director Xiao of your department? Chen Mengyan suddenly thought of something and asked. Yeah, what's wrong? Zhou Jejia looked at Chen Mengyan's somewhat strange expression and asked. I was wondering why you were allowed to participate after being rejected before. Chen Mengyan covered her mouth and laughed. What's wrong? Mengyan, do you know the reason? Zhou Jejia asked, puzzled. Chen Mengyan said halfway and suddenly saw Jing Xiaolu next to her. She quickly stopped and said, let's talk about it later. Jing Xiaolu naturally saw that Chen Mengyan wanted to say some secret things that could only be shared between the sisters. Jing Xiaolu was still an outsider, so she couldn't say it to her. Although Jing Xiaolu felt a little sour in her heart, she still smiled understandingly and said, Jejia, Mengyan, Zhiyun, I will go first. I still have classes in the afternoon, so I have to go back to the dormitory to prepare. After lunch, Jing Xiaolu was familiar with the relationship between the three of them. She was already satisfied. Things always had a gradual process. She didn't expect Chen Mengyan and the others to accept her as one of them now. And, then you go quickly. Chen Mengyan, Zhou Jejia, and Lin Zhiyun said goodbye to Jing Xiaolu affectionately. Chapter 12:29. After Jing Xiaolu left, Zhou Jejia hurriedly asked, Sister Mengyan, can you say it now? Zhou Jejia was smart. She naturally knew that Chen Mengyan didn't want Jing Xiaolu to hear the conversation between them. Of course. Chen Mengyan smiled mysteriously. Your dean is called Xiaoqing, right? Yeah. How do you know? Zhou Jejia continued to ask. Because she is Yang Ming's god-sister. Chen Mengyan covered her mouth and smiled. She must know your relationship with Yang Ming, so she made an exception to let you join. Zhou Jejia thought that Xiaoqing's name was familiar. She guessed that she was Yang Ming's god-sister. When she heard what Chen Mengyan said at the moment, it was true. She suddenly blushed. It seemed that Chen Mengyan was right. She was accepted as an exception. Perhaps it was because of her good grades, but if it wasn't because Xiaoqing knew that she was Yang Ming's girlfriend, she probably wouldn't pay attention to her in her busy schedule, let alone investigate her file. Sister Mengyan, don't talk nonsense. Yang Ming will definitely not talk about the things between me and him. In the eyes of outsiders, he only has you as his girlfriend. Zhou Jejia lowered her head and said embarrassedly. Sister Xiaoqing is not an outsider. Chen Mengyan smiled. She also knows about Lan Ling's matter. Although she said it with a smile, Chen Mengyan still felt a little sad when she said this. It wasn't that Chen Mengyan was still petty, but she was annoyed that Yang Ming actually found another girl when they were at odds. Chen Mengyan, Zhou Jieji, and Lin Jiyun all talked about Lan Ling's matter. They also knew about the existence of such a person. When they heard Chen Mengyan say that Xiao Qing knew a lot of things, they couldn't help but be slightly surprised. A god-sister, not a biological sister, knew so many things. It seemed that the relationship between Yang Ming and her should be very good. Even so, they didn't think too much about it. After all, Xiao Qing's identity was there. She was the dean of the computer science department. In their opinion, it was impossible for her to have any abnormal relationship with Yang Ming. Then, after I meet her, won't it be very awkward? Zhou Jieji was a little timid. No, you can do whatever you want. Do you want me to accompany you? Chen Mengyan saw Zhou Jieji's cautious look, so she asked. That's great, but, is that really okay? Zhou Jieji thought about it and felt that it was not good to let Chen Mengyan accompany her. If Xiao Qing saw it, what would she think? What if the other party really didn't accept her because she was her godbrother's girlfriend? Wouldn't that be self-defeating? Hee, I think, you should go by yourself. I was just joking to cheer you on. Chen Mengyan also felt that it wasn't good for her to accompany Zhou Jieji. It seemed that she was deliberately promoting something. Then I'll go by myself. Zhou Jieji pursed her lips. I don't think it's good either. In front of the computer science faculty building, Zhou Jieji, Chen Mengyan, and Lin Jiyun parted ways and ran upstairs. It was lunch break now. The graduate students who had come here to register had left to eat lunch and rest. Just as she entered the faculty building, Zhou Jieji's phone rang again. Zhou Jieji quickly left the faculty building. The faculty building was empty now. The ringtone of the phone was harsh. It was particularly clear in the quiet building, so if Zhou Jieji wanted to answer the phone, she could only retreat outside. Hello? Zhou Jieji picked up the phone. Zhou Jieji? I'm Li Buoyang. Li Buoyang's voice came from the phone. Oh. It's Senior Li, hello. Zhou Jieji said politely. Zhou Jieji also understood Li Buoyang's thoughts. This kind of person couldn't give too many hints. She had to keep a distance at all times so that he wouldn't misunderstand. Jieji. Can I call you Jieji? Huh, do you know? The department has approved your application to participate in the wireless protocol research. Li Buoyang said excitedly, you know, I spent a lot of effort to persuade Deputy Director Sunday. He also agreed. In a while, you can report to the faculty building in the department. You don't even need to go through an interview. You are directly admitted. You. Just call me Zhou Jieji. Only my family calls me Jieji. I'm not used to others calling me that. Zhou Jieji softly refused, I can participate in the research. Thank you, Senior Li, but Director Xiao has called me personally and told me to report. I have already arrived at the faculty building. Ah. Director Xiao called you? Li Buoyang didn't care about the title of Zhou Jieji and Jieji at this time. When he heard that Director Xiao had called Zhou Jieji directly, Li Buoyang was shocked. Then, wouldn't my previous shameless lies be exposed all of a sudden? Thinking of this, Li Buoyang suddenly blushed. So it's like this. Hee, it seems that Director Xiao still values you. Right, Deputy Director Sun also said that your grades last semester were good. This is the important reason why you are admitted. Of course, my lobbying and recommendation are only one aspect. The most important thing is still to rely on your own grades and ability. Zhou Jieji smiled faintly. Zhou Jieji was not angry with Li Buoyang's lame lie because Li Buoyang was completely an outsider. Zhou Jieji would listen to whatever he said. As for whether he lied or not, what did it have to do with Zhou Jieji? Thank you very much, Senior Li, but I am going to enter Director Zhao's office soon. Let's talk next time, said Zhou Jejia. That's good, then let's talk next time. Li Buliang hung up the phone and suddenly felt a little discouraged. He felt that he was still a step too late. How could I let Director Zhao call Zhou Jejia first? If I called before this, then wouldn't I be able to have the first impression? Now that Director Zhao had made the first impression, he didn't have any credit for it. This time, the hero saving the beauty didn't play out well. Li Buliang was very depressed. It seemed that he could only find the next opportunity. Brotherly, what's wrong with you? Next to Li Buliang, a cool man who was dressed very fashionably patted Li Buliang's shoulder and asked, "Why are you so down? You seem to have encountered some setbacks." Jiang Naigang. Li Buliang looked up and saw the man next to him. "It's nothing, hee. Brotherly, aren't you obviously not treating me as a brother? Your business is my business." Jiang Naigang was full of admiration for Li Buliang. The matter originated from the company run by his father. There was a very important encrypted account book. The accountant added a password, but this accountant had a car accident and was admitted to the hospital. The doctor said that it would take half a year at the earliest to wake up. This made Jiang Naigang's father, Jiang Fugui, anxious. There were many customers' arrears in the account book. If it couldn't be opened, the company would be finished. Even if it could be opened after half a year, there would be a shortage of funds in this half a year, which would bring immeasurable losses to the company. Jiang Naigang knew that his roommate, Li Buliang, was a computer master and the president of the school's computer association, so Jiang Naigang took the initiative to recommend Li Buliang to his father, Jiang Fugui. Jiang Fugui was a computer idiot. In fact, this kind of password cracking was not particularly difficult. As long as he went to a professional computer data recovery center, it could also be solved. It was just that Jiang Fugui thought that the computer was too mysterious, so he didn't think about consulting the people in Computer City. Listening to his son, his roommate was the president of the school's computer association. This name was quite big. Jiang Fugui took the attitude of treating a dead horse as a living one and brought Li Buliang to the company. Li Buliang looked at the encrypted account file. It was a file in the RAR format. The password of this type of compressed file could only be cracked by brute force. There was no other backdoor. Fortunately, the accountant's password was only an 8-digit birthday password, which was 8 numbers. Li Buliang used cracking software to crack it in just a few hours. Jiang Fugui didn't know the length of the encryption password. He only knew that Li Buliang solved his problem, so he respected Li Buliang like a celestial being. He also told his son, Jiang Naigang, to learn more from Li Buliang. Although Jiang Naigang also played computer games, he didn't know anything about decryption, so he also admired Li Buliang. He often invited Li Buliang to visit his home. So at this moment, seeing that Li Buliang seemed to be in trouble, Jiang Naigang naturally had to stand up. Seeing Jiang Naigang's inquiry, Li Buliang didn't continue to hide it. He felt that it was okay to pour out his thoughts to others, so he said, "AI, you also know me as a brother. I used to devote myself to computers, and I neglected my life. Brotherly, are you thinking about women? This is simple. I will find you a few tomorrow. You can have as many as you want." When Jiang Naigang heard Li Buliang's words, he thought that Li Buliang had a physiological need. He thought about finding him a few clean ladies tomorrow. If it really didn't work, he could spend money to find a third-tier celebrity. Anyway, his family wasn't short of money. Li Buliang had helped them a lot. He believed that his father would understand if he told him. "Naigang, you misunderstood." When Li Buliang heard Jiang Naigang's words, he was dumbfounded. "Do you think I am that kind of person? Even if there is a physiological need, I will solve it on the computer. How can I find a prostitute?" "Oh, then I understand. Brotherly, you want to find a girlfriend, right?" Jiang Naigang understood Li Buliang's meaning. He patted his chest and promised, "Don't worry. Leave this to me. Naigang, you still don't understand. I like a freshman girl in our school, but she doesn't seem to have any interest in me. Li Buoyang sighed and said. Brotherly, you are a talented person. How can she not like you? Jiang Naigang said, however, you can rest assured that girls nowadays worship money. I will package you up and lend you my sports car. I guarantee that you will get the girl. Really? Li Buoyang was suddenly happy. Li Buoyang knew that girls nowadays worship money. Zhou Jiejia shouldn't be an exception, right? In recent dating shows, basically all girls worship money. Li Buoyang had seen it before. Then, can I still lie to you? Jiang Naigang said, when the time comes, you bring her out. I will take you to a few upper-class parties. When she sees your strength, won't she fall for you? Li Buoyang was overjoyed and quickly thanked, then, I will leave this to you. Zhou Jiejia easily went to the dean's office on the 3rd floor and knocked on the door. Xiao Qing's voice came from inside, please come in. Zhou Jiejia opened the door and entered Xiao Qing's office. She said politely, Director Xiao, hello. I am Zhou Jiejia. I am here to report. Xiao Qing had just eaten and was taking a lunch break. Because of continuous fatigue, Xiao Qing used the lunch break to take a nap in the office. She didn't expect Zhou Jiejia to come so quickly. She just called her and she came. It seemed that Zhou Jiejia was really interested in this wireless protocol topic and wanted to participate. Xiao Qing was a little surprised that Yang Ming had such a girlfriend. Zhou Jiejia was very knowledgeable about computers, but Yang Ming didn't mention it to her. Zhou Jiejia, you are here. Please sit down. Xiao Qing pointed to the sofa next to her. Director Xiao, I didn't disturb your rest. Seeing that Xiao Qing was sleeping and was woken up by her, Zhou Jiejia suddenly felt a little apologetic. It's okay. I was a little tired these days, so I lay down for a while. Xiao Qing smiled, Zhou Jiejia. I will call you Jiejia, okay? Okay. Zhou Jiejia nodded happily. Although she had just told Li Buoyang that she wasn't used to people other than her family calling her Jiejia, Zhou Jiejia had subconsciously regarded Xiao Qing as a family. Yang Ming's godsister was Zhou Jiejia's godsister. Naturally, they were a family. Jiejia, I saw your last semester's results. They were really good, especially the disk copy program. Not only can it perform normal disk copy, but it can also copy encrypted tracks. It uses a lot of edge technologies. Many professors in our university aren't as good as you in these things. Xiao Qing praised sincerely. Although Xiao Qing also studied encryption and decryption for a while when she was in school, she didn't continue to study it in depth. After all, Xiao Qing was now studying some formal technologies. In terms of encryption and decryption, she wasn't Zhou Jiejia's opponent. But in terms of academics, she was much better than Zhou Jiejia. It's all some unorthodox things. Zhou Jiejia smiled embarrassedly. However, what I'm good at is also these hacking technologies. I have never participated in the customization of network protocols. I heard that our university is actually leading the research on the domestic wireless protocol standards. I was very happy, so I came to sign up. I heard that only graduate students were recruited. I thought that there was no hope. I didn't expect Director Xiao to accept me. Actually, I heard Yang Ming talk about you. Xiao Qing suddenly changed her previous businesslike attitude and blinked at Zhou Jiejia. But Yang Ming didn't say that you were interested in computing. Otherwise, I would have brought you along if there were these topics to study. Director Xiao, you know. Zhou Jiejia's face turned red. Previously, Zhou Jiejia listened to Xiao Qing's words. She thought that Xiao Qing really accepted her because of her good grades and skills. It turned out that there was really a relationship with Yang Ming. You can also call me Sister Xiao Qing. Xiao Qing smiled and said, you saved Yang Ming and almost sacrificed yourself. How can I not know this? I'm really grateful to you. That's what I should do, and I'm also a busybody. With Yang Ming's skill, he should be able to dodge that shot. I'm superfluous, and I brought such a big burden to Yang Ming. Zhou Jiejia sighed and said with some emotion. These words were indeed her heartfelt words. It was just that she didn't say it to anyone, including Chen Mengyan and Lin Jian. Now that Xiaoqing was in front of her, she was like a loving big sister next door. Zhou Jiejia couldn't help but speak out her own thoughts. Zhou Jiejia later learned about Yang Ming's skill. Therefore, Zhou Jiejia thought about the situation at that time. Yang Ming really didn't need her to block the shot. It was just that she couldn't ask Yang Ming about these words, and Yang Ming wouldn't admit it. And she couldn't say it to Chen Mengyan. Zhou Jiejia was afraid that after she said it, Chen Mengyan would feel that she was with Yang Ming. Therefore, Zhou Jiejia didn't dare to. You can't say that. Xiaoqing waved her hand. Yang Ming's skill is great. This is a fact, but there are always accidents. Maybe if you didn't block the shot for him at that time, the shot would have hit him. Even if he can avoid it, your kind intentions are still precious. Thank you, Sister Xiaoqing. Zhou Jiejia smiled happily. After listening to your words, my heart feels a lot better. Well, don't think so much. Xiaoqing said, in the future, it will be very tiring to participate in the research team. You may not be able to go home at night. You live with Yang Ming, right? Ah. Zhou Jiejia was blushed by Xiaoqing's question, but she still nodded. I live with Meng Yan and the others. Yang Ming sometimes comes back to live, I guessed it. Xiaoqing smiled. You may have to live on campus in the future. Is that okay? This is okay. I will live in the dormitory. Zhou Jiejia nodded. It's not the dormitory. It's living in the laboratory. Xiaoqing said, the research and development may be day and night. It may be black and white reversed. In short, if you are tired, rest for a while. If you are not tired, go to work. Wouldn't that be living with a lot of boys? Zhou Jiejia was shocked and asked quickly. To be honest, in this research team, except for me, a woman, the others are all boys. Xiaoqing smiled. But you can live with me. I have a separate lounge. That's good. Zhou Jiejia breathed a sigh of relief and nodded. She naturally agreed to live with Xiaoqing. Xiaoqing was Yang Ming's godsister. Zhou Jiejia also wanted to have a good relationship with her. You're tuning into the A Romantic Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.